Well, I mean, I imagine we're probably going to talk about the shooter guy that
Like, if
everybody's
you wanted to
screaming about
attack
now.
me on a specific point, or if we just want to. Okay, yeah. So, a couple of things. First of all, I feel like the general arguments you were making there were pretty reminiscent of the conservative line. I'm not saying it was okay for the police to shoot him, but what do you expect when you disobey cops? You know.
Okay. I'm gonna actually be really anal with the note taking on the summary of this video because I feel like this conversation is pretty important. I feel like it's been
Wait a
mischaracterized
second.
quite a bit. So
Čia jisai komentuoja ant savo... Okay, pochui.
I also feel like retrospectively, both in watching some parts of it and then my feelings during and after, I feel like I actually did like a pretty good job of like maintaining my cool and like avoiding pivots and trying to stay on topic. Although a lot of people feel that that's not the case. So to start, here, I'll set it on just camera me. Okay.
All right. Hey, what's up, bud?
Howdy. All right. Was there anything in particular you wanted to talk about, or did you want me to give my spiel?
Well, I mean, I imagine we're probably going to talk about the shooter guy that
Like, if
everybody's
you wanted to
screaming about
attack
now.
me on a specific point, or if we just want to. Okay, yeah. So, a couple of things. First of all, I feel like the general arguments you were making there were pretty reminiscent of the.
So to be clear, he did come in initially talking about my arguments, okay? It wasn't about my rhetoric. It wasn't about me being mean. It wasn't about me being a jerk. It was literally coming in to talk about my arguments, okay? So let's start with that being established, all right? Before we move on to like whether or not I'm a meanie.
Įdomu, ar čia buvo pradžia jų viso
Conservative
to
line.
konflikto.
I'm not saying it was okay for the police to shoot him, but what do you expect when you disobey cops? You know.
Okay, can I give you a real quick thing? Okay, real quick. Can we please just focus on this one argument? I think both of us are intelligent enough that if we use an analogy, we can jump.
Okay, so after he brought up that cop thing, I could already feel like any analogy that would be brought up would be so disanalogous to the situation that I didn't want to deal with analogies. For a very rare Destiny debate, I just wanted to talk about the issue. Let's just not use analogies. Let's just focus on what happened. Because I feel like there was enough material here to do that. I feel like Vaush is relatively intelligent, and usually when I'm using analogies, it's because I feel like the person I'm talking to is too stupid to understand what I'm saying. So I have to dumb it down and make it into some other check for them, or some other like thing for them. Sorry, I just read kitten check. But notice that even though I try to say that at the beginning, we end up using analogies later on. And notice how
Ai, va, kodėl aš, kai jums kažką pasakoju, tiek daug pavyzdžių naudoju visokių, skirtingų, nes aš tiesiog galvoju, kad jūs visiškai tūpi ir nesuprantat nieko.
those analogies later on don't actually elucidate anything. They just make everything more confusing because I feel like they're really bad. But okay. But all right. So, okay.
Generalize it. I don't want to hear like you're making the same Nazi. You can just focus on like the line level, directly applicable arguments instead of trying to draw this into anything else. Okay, I think we can handle that. I don't think the situation is so complicated that we have to start drawing parallels to other things. Okay.
Then I think most of the people in your chat were primarily concerned over whether or not it was moral to attempt to apprehend the shooter, and you.
Okay, so just to be clear, okay, just because I like to be clear. So now he's saying whether or not it was moral to apprehend the shooter. We're not focused on my rhetoric, or whether or not we're being mean, okay? We're talking about like the actual arguments and the actual issues, okay?
Kas čia buvo nauja idėja, čia
You were more
netoks
concerned with whether or not that
naujas
was a good decision for
podcastas.
preserving their mortality. But I don't think
Tipo, aš vakar žiūrėjau debatą naują ir ten Vaush su Destiny labai, labai jautęs antipatiją Vaushas ten neduoda, iš vis sakys žodžiai prispisnėja prie visko, tai man buvo įdomu, iš kur čia tas atsirado. Tai susiradau senesnį kažkokį, va čia prieš metus vykusį pokalbį, bet čia eigesnė pokalbis, o Destiny mintis po pokalbio ir analizė, bet, that's fine still. Tai man įdomu, iš kur tas atsirado, ir čia jau ilgą laiką tęsis tarp jų šitas, tai dabar va šitą ir žiūriu.
people were arguing that. I think generally speaking in this country,
Apie
we tend
kokią
to
čia
laud people
būtent
who
shooting
put their
kalbą aš
lives on
net
the
nesu
line to
tikras.
attempt to apprehend an active shooter, but you seem to be demonstrating an almost contemptuous disregard for their efforts, which obviously didn't
Yeah,
work
because
out.
I don't believe.
Okay, so he's already kind of sort of starting to do it, and maybe, I don't know if I do this, I hope I don't do this, but this kind of like, normally we laud people that like try to take down active shooter, like, Bastiat does it too, but like this kind of like preachy shit is like we're just having a talk, okay? I don't need this. just please just talk to me. I don't need the preachy shit. He's not really going super hard on it now. I think he does later, and I'm like, please stop. But yeah, okay.
Believe that the guy was an active shooter at the time when people were attempting to apprehend him, firstly, and then secondly, trying to apprehend an active shooter in an irresponsible manner can actually increase the amount of harm suffered by people around you, for instance, with ricochets or with misfires.
Do you think that the shooter was in the right to murder the people that he murdered? Bit of a loaded way.
Sorry, I'm clicking random shit in chat. Blame chat. My bad. Hold on. Oh my god, what are we doing? Okay.
Shooter at the time when people were attempting to apprehend him, firstly, and then secondly, trying to apprehend an active shooter in an irresponsible manner can actually increase the amount of harm suffered by people around you, for instance, with ricochets or with misfires.
Do you think that the shooter was in the right to murder the people that he murdered? Bit of a...
I should have called him out here for this, but I'm trying to treat him in the beginning. I'm trying to assume he's in good faith. Really, I should never let anybody use the word murder like that, because when you use the word murder, you're begging the question. Begging the question is a form of fallacy where you're sneaking in the conclusion with your question, so you're answering the same question that you're asking simultaneously. So, for instance, if I ask a question, do you think that murdering someone is right?
Čia tas klausimas, blėt, kur ten... Vos ne, ar tu manai, kad buvo gerai, kad jisai sumušė savo žmoną, kai dar net nėra įrodyta, kad jisai sumušė savo žmoną. Nu, tipo... kai, tipo, klausimą užmaskuoja, bet ir teiginį tuo pačiu pasako.
Right? Do you think that murdering someone is wrong? Well, murder by definition is the unjust killing of somebody. So when you ask, like, is murdering right or is murdering wrong? Well, of course murdering is wrong. Like, it's murder. By definition, it's wrong, right? Like, you're engaging in a form of, like, begging the question. You're already... So I should never let him use the word murder here, but I'm letting him, and I shouldn't be, but okay.
A loaded way to phrase it, but...
Well, you just completely moved off what you said before, but if you want to talk about a totally different thing...
I'll go back
sure.
to that. I'm just curious, because I want to know whether or not you believe that people were even justified in chasing...
Wait, hold on one second. Destiny, murder, the unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. It says nothing about morality. I don't know what definition you're reading from, and I'm going to appeal to the dictionary in my brain because I'm so confident of what I'm saying right now. And if you don't believe me, then suck my dick. When somebody talks about murdering somebody, we understand murdering to be the unprovoked and unjustifiable taking of life of another person. Murdering is killing without provocation. That's what murder means 99%.
Tiesiog. Aš naudoju žodžio aprašymą, kuris yra mano smegenyse ir aš esu visiškai tam tikras. Ir jeigu netiki manim, suck my dick. Nice, blėt, racionaliai.
99% I don't know what dictionary, whatever, but that's what murder means. Murdering. Nobody would ever say that, like, oh, that's the literal Oxford. Don't care. Don't care. Suck my dick. Don't give a fuck. When somebody says murder, you generally or you always you mean without justification. That's what murdering means. Okay, without justification. All right. Murder is a legal term, not a moral one. In common parlance, and I would even probably guess in philosophical texts as well, nobody would ever say, like, oh yeah, the wife, she murdered her husband. Wow, really? Oh my god, that's horrible. No. Like, he was attacking her, beating the shit out of her, and she, like, defended herself and murdered him. Nobody would ever say that. It doesn't make any sense. You would say that, like, she killed her husband in self-defense.
True.
I'm not debating that point. I'm just giving that to you. If you don't like it, then leave, okay? I'm not arguing this, okay? Fuck off. Destiny, the distinction you're talking about exists, but generally the average person isn't making a distinction between murder and killing like you're saying. You're wrong. You're just dead wrong. You are wrong. Nobody in common parlance uses murder to mean justified killing. Nobody says it. I just
matot ir pasičiatas vieni idiotai.
Gave you an example, okay? Nobody would say, oh yeah, he murdered him in self-defense. So you killed him in self-defense. Murder implies an unjust, unprovoked killing. Jesus fucking Christ.
him down.
Okay, so then you're not asking about everybody. You're asking for the very first guy.
Yeah, well, we can start with the very first guy. I guess I
Ne,
jumped ahead.
atsiprašau,
So we're trying
excuse
to
me.
focus on-
Aš esu labai unique su savo chatu. Mano chatas yra vien tik genijai su dideliais bibiais ir tipo, kas ten dar, tipo, jo. Tai atsiprašau.
Like, which killing are we talking about first?
With the very first
So
guy.
I just want to make sure they're being
Ačiū,
razor
Alexa.
specific on the
Okay,
question.
yeah,
So you're
that's
asking for the
perfectly
very
fine.
first guy.
I didn't structure my arguments or anything. So with
Sure,
the very
that's
first
okay.
guy,
Yeah,
as far as
yeah.
I can see, I don't know what incident led to the person with the bag chasing the guy with the gun. He
Mm-hmm.
threw, it looked like a bag with a Coke bottle in it. And
Mm-hmm.
then he missed, he continued chasing, and the man with the gun turned around and unloaded into him.
How many shots did he fire? Was it just one or was it more than one?
I think it was more than one, but I would have to go back. Chat, if you want to.
So the one shot that was fired was there was a guy in the back that actually shot a warning shot at Kyle, or towards Kyle. I didn't know this at the time. I think a New York Times person went through the videos and established that. But,
Sakau, vien genijai.
the guy ultimately fired 4 shots. Now, whether or not that counts as unloaded, I don't really care. But Kyle fired 4 shots into the guy that chased him.
I'll link the video. I can take a look at it again.
Okay. So
Jo, tiksliai, prisimena tą pridurką, kur kažkada atėjo, kažką parašė apie žiūrovų kiekį, tada pradėjo durneliais vadintis, baną gavo ir ten į Discordą kvietė, aš jam ir linką numečiau ir kviečiau ten, iš karto po to chato ir jis netėjo. Tai čia po 2 ar 3 dienų, kiek čia dabar praėjo, vakar naktį pradėjo rašinėti, man, ten naktį apie vidurnaktį pradėjo rašinėti, nemačiau žinutės, einam dabar šnekėti. Ten pradėjo klėdėti, koks jis suaugęs, vaiką turi, ten paskui kokius 7 kartus pradėjo grasinti, kad realybėj daug kartų mane matė, kad sutiks, jam nėra ką man, kažkaip jis ten rašė, tipo, suprask, sumušt mane. Tai va, adekvatus, normalus žmogus, tikrai užaugins gerą vaiką pavyzdingą, nahui, blėt, nahui. Tai kodėl nešnekėjai, tai aš dirbau, tai kam į Discordą kvietėjai tada, jeigu, žinai, kad negali šnekėti ir 10 sekundžių nepalauki linku ir išeini, incredible, kur, žiūriu šitą toliau.
So 3 or 4 is what I've heard. Okay.
Yeah.
So just being clear, so 3 or 4 shots. I saw 2 people have in a shot, so I'm assuming that's true.
Yeah.
I would say that in that case, yeah, I would say that self-defense is justified.
Really? Even though Minnesota is not a stand-your-ground state?
Okay, I don't think have I said yet? I'm sorry, because I stopped to argue these dumb fucks in chat about whether or not murder means, okay, have I clarified yet that we're talking morality and not the legal shit? You're about to? No? Okay, thank you, all right.
Do you want to talk moral or legal? Which one do you want to talk?
Okay, morally, do you think if you're being chased down by an unarmed person, Wisconsin, sorry, not Minnesota, my bad. Do you think that
I guess
do you think being chased down by a person if you have a firearm means that you're morally justified in shooting them?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, okay.
You don't believe in like escalation of force, like there needs to be a demonstration of lethal escalation of force before you're allowed to respond in kind, or
if you're brandishing a firearm and somebody's charging you anyway, I think it's fair to assume that that person likely has lethal intent. They could be carrying a knife, or they could be planning to take your firearm from you and kill you with it. You have no way of knowing that. It's not your responsibility to know that. If you're trying to comply with what I would consider a moral duty to retreat, which it seems like he was running away, but another person is charging after you regardless, by the time you've ascertained whether or not they have like a
Destiny, you're still wrong. He didn't shoot the warning shot at him in the air. Shooting a warning shot at somebody versus a warning shot in the air at somebody, this is a distinction with no difference. Bye, you're gone. God, holy shit, leave. Please leave. Oh my fucking god, you're so fucking stupid. Wait, where is your name? Oh my god. Goodbye.
Ar man vaidenas, ar Destiny, čia mes žiūrim prieš metus, jo. Prieš metus daug, the fuck, daug piktesnis norėjau sakyti, mane daug labiau panašus. Nes, pažiūrėjau, vakar, kur žiūrėjom Destiny, jis daug ramesnis ir kiek aš esu matęs Destiny dabar, tos kelis jo debatus, jis daug labiau chill atrodo. Jesus fucking Christ. Mano spirit animal Destiny, yes. Amazing.
Don't email me. Leave. Go to another chat. Go to Twitch chat. They'll take you there. Okay? Jesus fucking Christ. What a mind-numbingly fucking stupid distinction. Holy fuck. You must sleep like 22 hours a day, if I had to guess. Like, I don't think you could operate for more than 2 hours a day with the minimum number of brain cells you have left in your body before you slowly deteriorate and fade away into nothingness. With how fucking stupid you are.
Gerai, jis biškai originalesnis savo insultais, bet legit, nu, okay.
He didn't fire a warning shot at him, Destiny. He fired a warning shot at him in the air.
Knife or something, you're likely already going to die. So yeah, I think that you have a right to defend yourself in that circumstance.
Okay. So if we're strictly speaking like morally here, I think that's abhorrent.
Okay, something that I need to pay more attention to is that when I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm usually having a one-on-one conversation, but Vaush especially loads statements, and he's speaking 90% to the audience and 10% to me. It's a really shitty way to argue, but it's a really favorable way to like win over an audience. I need to be more mindful of this when I feel like somebody is getting really preachy. When somebody's saying that like somebody that hasn't displayed any lethal intent, this is an abhorrent moral way to act. It's like, well, whether or not it's abhorrent is kind of like that's what we're.
Ne, ką Destiny tikrai moka, taip, nu, supranta, I guess patirties turi debatuose tokiuose visokiuose ir supranta, nes jo, va, tokius dalykus ir kolautina, šiaip pokalbį niekad nepastebėtum. Ir taip, nu, tu tokius, nu jo, fallacies arba tos debatų triukus, kur naudoja. Nes jo, kai tu kalbi su kitu žmogum ir žinai, kokią auditoriją žiūri, tu gali net ne su to žmogum kalbėti ir, tipo, nu, jeigu auditorija balsuos, kas tipo laimėjo, nu, tai jie ir balsuos tą, kuris labiau jiems kalbės, o ne tam oponentui, nu, arba argumentams. Damn. Ar jis valgo kažką? Ne, liktais, aš nežinau, aš nelabai žiūriu, aš tik klausaus.
Like, I mean, you obviously think it's bad. I think it's good. Well, that's the argument. I need to be more cognizant of when people are doing this. So it's hard to keep in mind, but like, yeah.
You could potentially justify.
Can you tell me why?
Oh yeah, because you could potentially justify with that line of logic an unbelievable range of potential justifications for engaging in like a preemptive lethal force.
Sure. Can you give me an example?
Yeah. I don't think that any time a person is running at you, that gives you permission to kill them.
I'm not saying anytime a person
isn't essentially.
Oh my god! I just skipped ahead. Hold on.
In killing anybody who attacks them after
for something, you're likely already going to die.
Sure.
Can you give me an example?
I don't think that any time a person is running at you, that gives you permission to kill them.
So I don't know if I say it here, but this is the first example of what I would consider absolutely a bad faith reframing of what's going on. I don't think at any point during this conversation have I said that a person simply running at you when you have a gun means grounds for you to kill them. That is an absolute. I'm not arguing with Chad on it. I'm just telling you. Okay, that is an absolute bad faith reframing of what I've said. Okay, if somebody's running at me to give me a high five, if somebody's running at me to give me a hug, if somebody's running at me to inform me of something, there's like a million ways. Now, if he would be a little bit more honest, right? The phrasing would be like, if somebody is running at you with the intention of causing you bodily harm, knowing that you have a firearm, okay, that's what we're talking about.
Širokai pagalvoju, aš nežinau, ar aš esu internete, ar to labiau Twitch'e, turėjęs ever pokalbį su kažko in good faith. Nu, tipo, visi pokalbiai, tie, kur ten žygis ateina, ar ten su sponsorium kalbė ir su bet ko, visi iki vieno. In horrible faith, tipo, ateina iš karto, nu, in bad faith pokalbį turi. Aš net nežinau, ar tie žmonės suvoktų šitą principą ir sugebėtų kitaip. Actually. Net nežinau, blėt, ar štai žmonėm actually ir man gautus, bet, nu, jo, it's horribly clear. Ir čia žmonės, kur ateina ir banus gauna, labai aiškiai kartais pasimato, kad, nu, jie tiesiog operatina in bad faith. Aš žinau, kaip lietuviškai tą terminą naudoti iš tikrųjų. Kur ten parašo, žinai, tipo, klausimą, nu, bet labai clear tai yra in bad faith klausimas ir, nu, jiem nerūpi atsakymas, tiesiog tokį kaip užstumimą nori maždaug parašyti. Tai aš nežinau, net ar internete esu turėjęs pokalbį in good faith. Na, gerai, negaliu taip sakyti su Simonu, kai ginčiamės apie New World'ą. Buvo visiškai in good faith ir mes ten pusvalandį ginčiamės. Tai jo, gal ir esu turėjęs tiesiog, jie gal far in between, jie tiesiog yra, toliau žiūrim. Pas mums mokykloje nemoko tokių dalykų, niekur nemoko tokių dalykų žmogau.
That's what I specifically stated earlier, and that's the specific scenario that we're talking about as well. This whole, like, running at you, so anybody running at you can be murdered, that's, like, such a grossly, like, weak-ass fucking way of, like, trying to reframe what I'm saying in the most, like, callous manner possible.
Net sunku suprasti ir paaiškinti.
Do you acknowledge that you sometimes also reframe your opponent's arguments in this way? Never.
Man dabar įdomu, ar jūs žinot, ką reiškia tas bad faith? Tipo, debatų, ar čia terminas, aš nežinau, bet kai vat sako in bad faith, kad tavo argumentas yra in bad faith, ar jūs suprantat, ar žinot, kas tai yra? Nes jo, aš nežinau kaip lietuviškai actually išverst, aš nežinau lietuviško termino tam, ar mes turim 100% ne. O kiti. Pamėginsiu paaiškinti ir tada vis tiek. Blet. Manau jo, tikrai. Kai eini argumentą ir pradedi sakyti dalykus, pavyzdžiui, poziciją iškraipai oponento. Taip, kad parodytum, blogiausią poziciją arba pakeiti taip, kad, kad tu galbūt net žinai arba nežinai, nesvarbu, bet priskiri poziciją kitam žmogui. Pavyzdžiui, tu sugalvosiu pavyzdį kokį nors. Pavyzdžiui, aš manau, kad ten Kinijos eksportas yra gan stiprus ir, naudingas dalykas pasauliu. Tarkim, aš čia, sukūriu belenką. Ir tada žmogus, kuris diskutuoja su tavim, tai tu manai, kad Kinija zaibi šalis yra? Tipo, arba, tu sakai, kad Kinija zaibi šalis yra, tai kodėl tu dabar čia kritikuoji, jų socialinio kredito sistemą. Ir čia jau yra argumentas in bad faith. Nes visų pirma, jisai sukūrė poziciją mano, kuri yra bloga, kurios aš niekad nesukūriau. Ir tada jis atakuoja mane už tą poziciją, kurią pats sukūrė. Čia yra in bad faith, iš karto pavyzdys. Ir tas bad faith, čia yra vienas iš pavyzdžių, gali būti daugiau. Pavyzdžiui, jeigu tu visiškai negerbi oponentų ir galvoji, kad jis yra tūpas, ten, ar jo visos pozicijos blogos, tu net niekad nesiklausysi, ką jis kalba, ką jis sako, ir atakuosi tada jo stromenus, o ne patį jį, tipo, ir, irgi bus diskusija in bad faith, jau kai tu visiškai ant tiek negerbi oponento, kad, maždaug šitaip. Ne. Man atrodo, čia ne tas pats. Nes tu šiaip gali būti tiesiog durnas. Ir nepriimti, arba ten closed-minded, ar panašiai. Gal yra kažkoks persipinimas tų, bet bad faith labiau, į tą pusę krypsta, kur, bet, yra šiek tiek panašumo, ir, labai priklauso nuo konkretaus turbūt pavyzdžio, bet jo, ir tas bad faith yra labai daug turbūt praplėst kaip įmanoma, bet toks pagrindinis, kur naudojamas, kur tiesiog priskiria argumentą, kurio tu nesakai, va čia Destiny atveju būtent taip ir buvo, realiai, priskiria argumentą, kur tu, jis nesakė, arba priskiria kažkokią blogą nuomonę apie kažką tam žmogui, kuris jos neturi, arba, pavyzdžiui, jeigu tu, palaikai, kalbi su žmogum, ane, ir jūs atėjot kalbėti apie, nežinau, apie feminizmą ar panašiai, arba, tarkim, apie kažką iš tų right-wingerių, tarkim, temų. Tarkim, apie ginklus, kad aš esu už ginklus ir panašiai, ir aš apie tai su žmogum kalbėti. Ir jis tada manęs negerbė, nežino mano pozicijos, tai arguina in bad faith, ne tai, kad paklaustų, o kokia tavo pozicija apie abortą, pavyzdžiui. Jisai iš karto assumes, kad kadangi tu esi republikonas, esi už ginklus, tai tu ir esi ir prieš abortą. Ir iš karto sakys, tai kaip tu esi prieš abortą, viską, ir taip tau iš karto priskirs tokį arguments in bad faith. Nežino, bet iš karto sako į argumentą. Pavyzdžiui, ką sponsas daro ištisai, pavyzdžiui, dabar čia, kai jisai kalba ten, mes nekalbam, bet tipo, jisai ką pasakoja apie mane, tai realiai Jis susidarė įvaizdį apie mane, nežinodamas šito atsakymų, nežinodamas mano pozicijų, apie daug dalykų, bet jis pasakoja ten, apie mane dalykus. Tai čia yra tiesiog in bad faith jau visiškai. Ir jeigu mes kalbėtumėm, jis jeigu bet kurią tą poziciją pasakytų prieš tai nepaklausęs manęs, o kaip ten yra iš tikro, tai jau būtų in bad faith. Iš esmės jau tokie dalykai. Okay. Toliau žiūriu.
Or I might sometimes, but that's why I constantly, and people call this a debate tactic, but when I reframe people's arguments, I say a million times, if I'm saying this in a way you don't agree with, stop me. If I say this, so that's why I say a million times, like, so are you saying this? Wait, so do you mean that like this? Or do you mean if this happens to you with this? I say that a million times. I'm asking you. Right? There might be times when like I reframe it as like, wait, so are you saying that if you do that you would mean this? I'll ask questions. There might be a time where I get that wrong, but you have an invitation to correct me every time, of course. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm sorry. When I said never, what I mean is like, I don't ever intentionally do it. I might get it wrong sometimes, but I'm always asking people for clarification. Like, I have found a few times where you haven't done that. I can come back later with, okay, if you want to, sure. But I'm pretty sure that I say like in the beginning of almost every conversation, like, stop me if I say something you disagree with. Like,
in like a preemptive lethal force.
Sure. Can you give me an example?
Yeah. I don't think that any time a person is running at you, that gives you permission to kill them.
I'm not saying anytime a person is running at you. I'm saying anytime a person is running at you when you've displayed lethal intent. I think that it's okay to assume that other person is likely to counter with lethal intent as well.
But if you've displayed
Can you give me an example?
If you've displayed lethal intent initially, doesn't that mean you don't morally have... Like, by that argument, that means any initiator of lethal force would then be justified in killing anybody who attacks them after that point, because they've demonstrated lethal threat, and that... Yeah.
If you've demonstrated... Okay, hold on. Don't try to... Yeah, okay.
God, he does it so much, it makes me cringe when I rewatch it. Oh my God. Plays to the audience so hard. Yeah. Oh God, it kills me. Sorry.
Demonstrated that you've brandished a weapon, so you're willing to take things to a lethal level, and you're retreating, I would assume that anybody chasing you after that is also going to respond in kind with lethal levels of force. Can you give me an example of that not being the case? I'm not talking about like, because you're making a bunch of arguments, but you're leaving out one part. So an analogy that you just gave, so I could walk into a club and show my gun and now I can just kill anybody that charges me? Well, no, because in that case, you're aggressing, not retreating. This guy appeared to be retreating. It seemed like he was running with his back turned to the guy who was still chasing him and throwing things at him. Now, if you can give me an example where my use case here fails, I'd be interested to hear it, but so far you haven't provided one.
Okay, I feel like I'm doing a really good job so far clarifying my argument. I feel like I give an argument. I feel like he restates it. I feel like he's doing it inaccurately. I feel like I'm clarifying, asking for an example, clarifying, asking for example. I feel like so far, I feel like I'm trying to guide this conversation as much as possible. I'm trying to avoid the pivots and the preaching.
The fuck,
well, I mean, it wouldn't be difficult for me to provide a use case because it's entirely possible to tackle somebody without having any lethal intent.
But this...
Bet būtų scary debate in Destiny, ne? Tausais, matos, kai jis daug nusimano apie debatų taktikas ir mato dalykus, kai vyksta. Tipo, iš tos pusės, tai pretty fucking smart.
This is another... Okay, sorry. This is another incredibly stupid point. How am I supposed to know, when I've showed a gun, that a person charging me is tackling me with non-lethal intent? How am I supposed to know that? How can I divine somebody's intent? How am I supposed to just read their mind? Is the amulet of ESP, is that like part of carrying a firearm, or?
But if a person...
Do you think wait, can you know that?
Oh, good, and I ask.
Well, no, but you can't know that no matter what.
That's the point.
So you acknowledge then that there's a probability that if the guy either takes your firearm from you or has a knife in him, that he will kill you, right?
Well, there's always a probability whether or not you've already demonstrated lethal intent, but you were the one who escalated force by brandishing lethal intent to begin with.
We don't know that.
Do you think the person with the bag of coke brandished lethal intent before the person with the gun did?
This is so dishonest. This reminds me of the cardboard meme, where it's like, oh, it's just one poor dude with a crumb of coke. With a crumb of coke. Like, no. It was a fully grown adult male chasing a 17-year-old, screaming, fuck you! Throwing shit at him, with another guy behind him shooting a handgun into the air.
We don't know. It happened off video. All we've
Okay.
seen, and now it's possible. I'm going to admit this, okay? Because I don't know. I know you guys love covering breaking news. It's possible that maybe this guy with the firearm was actually provoking people to doing something earlier. That is possible. I don't think that justifies the guy chasing him. I think that's still stupid. But maybe it's some more moral ground to stand on. But
I need to stop saying stupid here because I don't mean that it's stupid. It is stupid, but what I really mean to say here is I don't think it's justified to chase somebody down after they've like displayed some aggressive intent elsewhere. I should be more clear there and not say stupid, but
think either of us know that. All we've seen in a video is a guy running away with a rifle being chased by another guy with a bottle. That's all I've seen so far, at least.
So if it were somehow, and I'm not saying this is the case because I don't know any more than you, but if it were somehow demonstrated then that the person with the gun brandished it unlawfully or otherwise demonstrated lethal intent without
he needs to stop saying unlawfully, but not a big deal.
provocation and was then chased down and then killed or engaged in lethal force, would you say then that morally justifies the behavior of the person chasing them down?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I don't think it's a citizen's. Once the threat has been neutralized, I don't think that you have like a moral follow-up or a moral justification to follow it up with lethal force anyway.
So here's something that I keep bringing up that people seem to not understand. I'm not going to say that we disagree with it because most of you are just wrong if you disagree with this. If somebody walks up to you and they pull out a knife and they're threatening you, and you take out a gun and shoot that person, I think that's fine. I'm sorry. That is fine. You're defending yourself. If somebody walks up to you, takes out a knife to stab you, and then they turn around and they walk away, and then 10 seconds later you take out your gun and you shoot them in the back, that's not okay. There is a world of difference morally between these two situations. For some reason, a lot of you dumb fucks think that these are the exact same thing. These are worlds apart. These are worlds apart. If somebody fucks up and does some shit, so the hypothetical I give here is when Kyle shoots the first guy, if another protester were to pull out a gun and shoot him immediately, okay, sure. Kyle might shoot other people. You don't know. Yeah, I could kind of see that. I'd be amenable to that argument, sure. But once Kyle's put his gun down, he's not shooting anybody, he's walking around, doesn't he's doing anything, you can't really shoot him at that point. Like, the immediate threat is gone. Like, totally different.
Kokia čia situacija tai buvo, nes aš nepamenu jos.
So, for instance, let's say somebody brandishes a firearm and you manage to knock it out of their hand, they're like pretty much neutral. Let's say it's a small guy, 90-pound dude, knock his firearm down, and now I don't think you can like kill him afterwards once the threat has been neutralized. I don't think
the
that's
threat wasn't neutralized. He still had a gun. He would run off later and kill more.
I need to deal with this more because it is so fucking stupid. He's too American to say this shit. People can carry guns in America. Just because you have a gun doesn't instantaneously equate to you threatening everybody's life around you. That's not how it works. And if it is how it works, then every single protester here with a gun ought to be killed as well because they're all actively being a provocateur to every single other person around them. He wouldn't agree with that. He might try to find some bullshit reason why, but I can't imagine what it could be. But I'm trying to be super charitable. One guy has a gun, other people have guns. Why are the protesters in the right and the guy, maybe the assault rifle guy, because you can see his rifle is more threatening than the people with the handguns that are hidden? Maybe. But like, this is a dumb argument. Just by virtue of you showing a gun doesn't mean you were instantaneously aggressing on every single person around you. That's just not the case.
More people.
We don't know that. You have no idea of knowing that, right? That didn't seem to be the case.
A threat's not neutralized if the guy's still running away with a gun, especially if he demonstrated initially like an unlawful brandishing of that firearm. I would still assume that guy was a threat to the people around him.
I don't know how he doesn't see a difference. I'm not going to ask this, but the next clarifying question I should have asked is, do you think there's a difference between a guy standing with a rifle aiming it at you, a guy standing with a rifle like fucking cocked and ready, and a guy with the rifle like slung and walking away? Or do you think that these three things are all like equivalent levels of provoking? Like, these are vastly different things.
It's possible, but it seems...
Was the gun already unlawful? No one at the protest knows, so you have no way of knowing that. I'm noticing Vaush keeps legally arguing unlawful. I'll catch him on that later. He does that multiple times.
Like, to grant you this, I would have to make a lot of like pretty bold assumptions. One is that he brandished a firearm showing that he was going to kill somebody, but then ran away, but then turned around and used it anyway, which is strange. And then two, like he brandished it and killed a guy, but allowed another guy to walk up and provide medical attention and didn't shoot anybody else. And then three, it was charged by a mob later and only shot the people directly attacking him. It didn't seem to shoot anybody. Like, it's possible that what you're saying happened, but neither of us really know that.
I don't know if all those preconditions are necessary for my argument to be valid. Like,
No, I'm saying that what you're saying. So like, I could imagine a fantastical world where this guy like drew his gun. And he was like, I'm gonna start killing innocent protesters, and some guy was like, no, get away, and like maybe threw a bottle at him. Like that's possible, but it seems highly unlikely. And even at that, like. I mean, like once you've chased him off, it seems like your goal should be to retreat, call the police, or retreat and leave. I guess if you don't think the police are trustworthy. I don't know why you would like follow it down and run it down all the way. That just seems to be like really irresponsible.
We're conflating arguments a little bit here. So it's possible that the most rational action that you can take is to hold off and call the police. However, if it's been demonstrated that this person is unstable or is provoking lethal intent for other people, it's entirely possible you believe that chasing them down and stopping them immediately is the most effective way to.
Ar rimtai pas mus, jeigu šuo tavo puola ir jį nušauni, turi bėdų? Ar čia, ar čia tik dėl to, kad nušauni ir ginklą naudoji, ar apskritai dėl to, kad užmuši gyvūną, bet jeigu jis tave puola, what? O kaip aišku, kodėl dėl to bėdų turi? Taip, dresūrai vedžioju pradavė teismo vieną žmogų. Čia reikia daugiau detalių papasakok plačiau. Kitos šuns, kuris puolė savininką, kad tas jį nušovė. Gerai, ir koks argumentas, tai jį puolė, jis apsigynė, tai, ar jį pripažino kaltu, ar kas, vien tai, kad padavė teismą, tu žinai, gali teismą paduoti dėl visko į viską, tai nereiškia, kad jis ir buvo nubaustas ir, kažkokia atsakomybė yra, tai man ir įdomu, kaip čia per situaciją. Paduoti teismą galima dėl visko visą laiką, čia nieko nesako dar, bet būtų labai nelogiška, jeigu nubaustų, nebent ten yra kitokių dar aplinkybių, aišku, kurių, aš nežinau čia. Kurtas? Reikia prisizoominti.
Immediately put an end to the threat. I guess the biggest thing that I have an issue with is your assumption.
Wait, to be clear, that is incredibly unlikely that is ever the case. In any responsible self-defense like circumstance, it is highly unlikely that the most EV positive action is to chase a guy with a rifle with a bottle. If I drew like all the possible paths that could stem from that, like chances are you're always going to result in more harm than less with that course of action.
When I say possible paths, let's think of some of those possible paths. So, guy has a rifle, seems dangerous, is retreating from an area. I could either scream at him, drawing his attention back to the crowd, in which case he might start shooting at people, or who knows. I could chase him down. If I chase him down, it's possible I could tackle him, get his weapon away from him, save the day. It's possible he could turn around, start firing at me, and kill other people. It's possible that in the ensuing kerfuffle or scuffle, he shoots other people, kills me. Or, let's see, what other branching paths are there? I could warn other people, hey, that dude running away, he's got a rifle, get out of the area, blah, blah, blah. Or, screaming ahead like, hey, that guy's got a gun, like, run away from him. In which case, hopefully people flee. I guess he could shoot more people at that point. Maybe, we don't know, though. It seems like if we were to draw, like, all the branching paths, getting into some sort of physical altercation with him guarantees some sort of violent outcome. And if I were to like think of the percentages, like, okay, violent outcome, it's him, who I think is like some lethal crazy dude, versus me with a bottle and no gun, and he has an AR-15. If I'm going to assume that that 99% of me confronting him is going to turn violent, or 100% is going to be violent, he's probably winning that the vast majority of the time. I'm probably engaging in like an increase in harm by like actually chasing him down. That's what I mean when I said drawing like all the branching paths. Basically, long and short, you're going to hear this from every single martial arts instructor, self-defense instructor, CCW teacher, blah, 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 blah. When somebody has a weapon, you run. That's what every single person tells you. You will never find a responsible coach, a responsible trainer, a responsible firearm advocate that will tell you this is how you disarm somebody if they have a weapon. This is how you fight somebody with a knife. No, what they'll say is, if you see a weapon, you run. End of discussion. That's it. You run, because you're going to get fucked up and other people are going to get fucked up. In an area where other people are around, let other people know, alert them, hey guys, get out, hey guys, do something, blah, 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 make sure you leave, call the cops, and run. That's it. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, yeah.
Reasonable.
But, okay.
For instance, maybe you charge him and he shoots you because you're charging him, and then you provoke other people to charge him as well, and he shoots all of them, and now you've got more people killed. Or maybe,
for instance, so that hypothetical that I just gave, that's actually what happened. Because the first guy charged him and he got shot, now people hear gunshots. It's entirely possible that first guy that charged him is the reason why one other person died and another two people got shot. Maybe that That same chain of events might have never happened if that first guy doesn't charge him like a fucking dipshit. Maybe you charge
this
him,
is
he shoots at you.
conjecture. Like, what if you chase him and you manage to apprehend him?
Gavo baudą ir kiek supratau pats už teisininkus mokėti tylesnio lygio, nežinau, bet rekomendavo tokiu atveju turėti geriau balnelę negu peilį ar šautuvą. Blet. Nu jo, neaišku. Atrodo fucked up, bet turbūt priklausys nuo aplinkybių labiau. Jo, atrodo visiškai fucked up situacija, ta prasme, what? No, nežinau, aš čia negaliu užlipti pohui.
Before he kills other people.
Incredibly unlikely. And now you've taken a guy that may or may not be violent, and now you've 100% re-escalated the situation into a life or death like encounter. Sorry.
The only
chances of that, but that's not going to happen though. That should never happen.
The only advice that I'm going off of here when it comes to how you should respond to active shooter situations is the advice that I was given when entering university, should there ever be an active shooter. The advice for which is generally, and I don't know if this was just the advice that I was given in my university or if this is generalized advice, that you should hide.
Where the fuck is that noise coming from? From Vaush's channel?
Generalized advice that you should hide, and if you cannot hide, you should fight, and that you should charge.
So Vaush actually misquotes this here. I don't know if it's intentional or not. But what you're actually told is you're told to run, hide, fight. Fight as an absolute last resort, not chase somebody through the fucking streets. It's run and escape if possible, hide if escape is not possible, and fight as an absolute last resort. Vaush is literally trying to spin this run and fight thing and make this a fight first. But okay, sorry, okay, so.
Charge them with as many people as possible to put an end to the threat as quickly as possible, even if it might end up getting you killed.
So this is another reason why I wanted to stay away from analogies. I don't know if I call them out on the analogy here, but the school shooter analogy is just, it is disanalogous for two immense reasons. Number one is that
Ką reiškia, kurva? Disanalogus. Meaning definition. Not analogous or comparable. Incomparable. Okay, nesulyginami maždaug.
The reason why you fight in a school is because you're trapped. You can't go anywhere. It's either do or die. Number one. And then number two is that if a guy is at a school with a gun, he's probably there to fucking kill everybody. Usually, when school shooters go to schools, it's to kill as many people as possible. Now, in a protest, there's a lot of people. There are a lot of militiamen with guns, a lot of people. Not every single person there is there to kill everybody. In a school shooting scenario, it's pretty safe to assume that a guy walking around in a fucking school building with a rifle shooting kids, probably going to continue to shoot kids. Highly unlikely he's going to put that on a guy. Also, if you're trapped in a classroom, you either fight or die. So for those two huge reasons, this is massively disanalogous to one of the reasons why I wanted to say from analogies in this conversation.
That's the information that I've been provided.
Sure, that advice is true, okay? Mm-hmm. But that hide or fight assumes that you're locked in a classroom with no retreat. So rather than stand in a corner and get butchered like sheep, then you fight, of course. But other than that, you always have a moral duty to retreat. Even if you carry a gun, you have a duty to retreat. If you take a CCW class, this is something they'll talk about a lot, is that you have a duty to retreat as much as possible before brandishing a firearm or before using lethal force.
How can you talk about a moral duty to retreat when that guy was running and then he turned around to open fire on the person who threw a bag at him?
Because
he does it again. God, he's such a fucking soy fuck. How could you talk about a duty to retreat when he turned around and the guy simply threw a bag at him? Okay, so this is number two of what feels like a bad faith characterization of what happened, okay? There's an adult running at you, protest, screaming, "Fuck you!" But I see he does these like reframes to like super like hammer home like his rhetoric to make it sound like the guy already threw one thing and was continuing to chase him down. Maybe the guy was getting tired. Maybe he didn't feel like he could continue running. Maybe he didn't know if the guy was going to throw out or take out and throw something else at him. But he might have thought the guy threw a knife at him or stabbed him in the back.
But the guy who was, but what you're saying right now is that you believe that the person who was running had a right to turn around and shoot because he wasn't aware of the intentions of the person chasing him. Nobody who was chasing that guy knew the intentions of the person carrying the rifle. So I don't think this assumption of this unreliable assumption.
No. Hold on.
The guy carrying.
Aš ir pirmą kartą girdėjau.
You have to think about this probabilistically. All self-defense is probabilistic, okay? You don't know if a guy coming up to you, if you're a woman, if he's trying to like wrestle you to the ground, you don't know if he's going to rape you. But we would never use this argument for a woman, right? Because there's a chance he could. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you've sacrificed your autonomy to that person, right? So if this guy is running away from a dude who is chasing him, even after he's shown that he has a rifle, right? That guy probably doesn't want to sacrifice his autonomy to a guy that's proven that he's willing to attack him, even though that other guy has shown like he's brandished a rifle and shown lethal
but this
intent.
is about optimal response strategies, not about morals. We can't expect average civilians.
No, we're talking about morals. What do you mean optimal response strategy? What are you talking? Okay, that analogy fits 100 million%. If I were to try to make this, a woman is running down an alley from a guy's chasing her. She has a firearm on her. Can she turn and shoot? I should have made him answer that. I think I try to later on. Should the woman turn and shoot? Well, she doesn't know if the guy is going to rape her. She doesn't know if the guy is going to kill her. She doesn't know. But I don't feel like I feel like he would try to find a way to weasel out of that. But
You're pivoting away. Do you want to talk about optimal response, or do you want to talk about more? Because I'm talking about the moral justification.
I don't want
right
to talk about optimal response. No, I don't expect the average person to be.
Then why did he bring up optimal response? Wait, what? I just got bait and switched so hard there.
His autonomy to a guy that's proven that he's willing to attack him, even though that other guy has shown like he's brandished a rifle and shown lethal
but this
intent.
is about optimal response strategies, not about morals. We can't expect average civilians.
You're pivoting away.
Or maybe he was trying to say that I was giving the optimal response strategy and not morals. And so he was trying. Maybe he thought he was trying to refocus it on morals.
Do you want to talk about optimal response, or do you want to talk about more? Because I'm talking about the moral justification.
I don't want to talk about optimal response. No, I don't expect the average person.
I think I was only talking about the moral response though, in terms of like morally.
Be able to respond.
Sure. So then let's stick to morals. Don't talk about optimal response.
Well, I thought that's
morals,
what you were doing
right?
though.
No, morality has probability assigned to it as well. There's a percentage chance that if you stop, that guy is going to take your firearm and kill you, or try to knock you out and kill you, or he could take out a knife and kill you. You don't know that. And the guy in the white shirt was continuing.
When I say morality has probability assigned, what I should have said is that like sometimes you have to evaluate things like within probabilities. So for instance, if a guy is charging you with a knife, you don't know if he's going to kill you. Okay. But like you still have a decision to make, even if there's a probability that he will or won't. I should have been more clear on that. That's kind of confusing, but
continuing to chase him, he was aggressing while the guy with the rifle was retreating. So yeah, I think the guy retreating has a right to defend himself.
We don't know if a person retreating, just because we've seen it in 6 seconds of a video, necessarily means that person posed no threat and that the person chasing them posed, the only threat. We're making a lot of
conjecture.
Wait.
You're making assumptions now.
No, I am making assumptions.
I wonder how many cop videos Vaush has watched where you only have 6 seconds of a cop shooting a black guy, and Vaush is like, what a pig, executing black people in the streets. I'm so curious. How many times on his stream he's watched like a cop shooting someone and has instantaneously known that the cop was in the wrong.
Because how that incident started is very essential to understanding who was more in the right. If your assumption,
really, no.
Well, do you believe then? But then your assumption then is even if the shooter was the one who initially brandished lethal intent, they would be justified in killing anyone who attempted to stop them.
Only if the shooter drops, runs away, and then is being chased afterward. And I admitted this in the earlier part of the video. There is a world where Vaush could be correct, but we have to acknowledge that is incredibly unlikely. Like, it's possible that the shooter the Kyle in the beginning was like, I'm gonna run away from you guys and then shoot all of you, and then he starts running and then the guy chases him. But like, I mean, it's possible, but that's a pretty unimaginable scenario. Like,
if he's aggressing on other people, but he wasn't aggressing, he was retreating.
What if he
was running away?
What if he brandished a firearm or threatened somebody verbally or pointed a firearm at somebody or otherwise unlawfully brandished a firearm and then ran?
Wait, stop saying law. Stop saying law. We're talking morals. We're pivoting to so many different. So just focus on the moral part,
so when I say unlawfully brandished, what I'm trying to clarify is that he wasn't brandishing it in response to a legitimate threat to his own person. He was pointing.
None of this we don't need the law to describe that. Like responding to a threat. I'm trying to stay off the legal. Maybe I'm going too hard on this, but like I'm really trying to get away from like the legal definition of it. Like I just want to talk about like morally or whatever. Do you have a stance on Colin Noor? Colin Noor, super sick dude that used to support gun rights a long time ago, became like a Republican sellout a long time ago. Fuck that guy.
to get
Sure.
the, I don't
So
know. You're
just
right.
said like aggressive
Sure,
something.
okay.
That's fine. I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to make it clear. I
Okay.
don't think you're trying to make it a legal argument. I understand. Yeah, go ahead.
So aggressing upon other people, and then he runs off. You speak of probabilistic circumstances. The people who are chasing him have no idea whether or not he poses a threat to other people, whether he's just trying to round a corner. What's more, I don't know how much the morality of the action is necessarily tied to the individual's ability to process the probabilistic outcomes of what response they should take to the potential of an active shooter. Like, I just want to, because I don't expect an average person to be very cognizant in the heat of the moment as to what the optimal decision is when it comes to a threat. But if a person
Wait, stop. Are you talking optimal decision or morality? We keep hopping around different. Do you?
But
I
you
thought we
have
were only just talking about morality.
said the morality of an action is in part determined by the extent to which your response to a situation is probabilistically just.
I don't understand. I'm trying to understand what he means by like. If there's when I say probabilistic, we should have clarified this more. When I say probabilistic, what I mean is like if there's a probability that somebody could kill you, you have a right to defend yourself. That's all I mean. It's not up to you to determine what that probability is. Is there a 40% chance, 70% chance, 80% chance, 10% chance? If somebody's aggressing on you and they have the means to kill you, there's a probability they'll kill you, then you have a right to defend yourself. That's what I mean. I don't know what he's talking about in terms of like probabilistic determination of the chances or likelihood of whatever. I'm not sure. Like
justified given the threat posed to you, right?
Yeah, but I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
requires
I don't
a
know
person
how
to
much of
be
a connection there is there.
Okay, if a person is aggressing on you, okay, they could kill you. They might not, but they could. That's all I'm saying. That's the only problem. I'm not saying that it's up to a citizen to
oh, okay. I clarify this.
probabilistically way, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that if you're retreating, somebody is running up to you, right? There's a chance that that person could kill you. You've shown like lethal intent, and that guy's still charging you. Like, holy fuck, seems like this guy wants to fight to the death. I think that's a fair assumption. So if that guy's running away and another dude is chasing,
assumption.
I don't know if I can call this bad faith or because I see a lot of you in chat repeating this. So you guys might just be fucking stupid. I don't think you guys are. I think most of you really know this, and a lot of you just don't want to admit it. Okay, if somebody pulls out a gun and somebody else goes up to fight them, how can you not assume that that's going to be a fight to the death? I don't understand. Like, you know the guy with the gun is never losing the fist fight, because if he does, he's going to fucking shoot you. If somebody has taken out a weapon that can kill you, and another guy decides they're going to fucking fight anyway, how can you not assume that there's at least a chance that that guy wants to kill the other dude? Like, one guy's already shown you, like, that he's going to fucking kill somebody. One guy's, like, I think people's minds go to action movies where the good guy just disarms the bad guy with a gun. Yeah, maybe. But, like, that, like, I don't understand how I can't get, like, this concession.
Gerai, kaip veikia dažymas? Aš turiu visokių dažų dabar. Oh, ok, tai aš galiu rotuoti ir čia tipo, aš galiu dažyti kelnes, pirštinės ir I guess šalmo negaliu. Tai pavyzdžiui, kaip tai veikia, ai, čia keičiasi, pavyzdžiui, šito spalva apačioj. Jo, paslėpia, nes, I guess, šitam UI turi matyti šalmą, žinai. I don't fucking know, jeigu, pavyzdžiui, viskas... Aš nežinau, kurios čia spalvos, tipo... Aš net nematau, čia pirštinės skaitės? Jo, čia pirštinės skaitės. O kelnes ką keičia tada? Ple, vos atspalviai keičiasi. Jesus. Bet tai pala, aš noriu tada šičia orange and blue galbūt. Nes šitas nudažė... Kokia čia spalva? Blue. Net nežinau, ką tas keičia. Tint. Leva, čia visai netokia spalva. Galiu auksinis visas. O, šitą labiau mėlyną. Interesting. Šviečiantis labiau negu kad mėlyna, kai būna tas tintas tipo. Oh, wow, what the fuck. Oh god, aš esu tragiškas spalvų derinime, by the way. Šitas atrodo per ryškiai, aš turiu kažkokį šį... Ple, šitas gal net geriau atrodo. I don't know. Actually don't know. Gerai, kas keičiasi pirštiniam? Aš galiu pastebėti skirtumą? Ai, actually, okay, keičiasi normaliai. Tai aš noriu, kad derintųsi. Pavyzdžiui, šitas spalva. Ne, atrodo ne. Dabar tokios pačios atrodo kaip armoros. I don't know, man. Šitas kažkaip weird atrodo. Mėlynas su to tokiu sidabriniu atspalviu, čia who knows, kokia spalva. Gal šitaip geriau. Gerai, o kelnes. Aš nematau skirtumo didelio. Klynas keičiasi. Bent jau šitas, gerai, šitas ką keičia. Ai, šitas šitaip. Ok. Šitas ką keičia. Nematau skirtumo. Ai, šitas jau keičia pačias kelnes, I guess. Bet vos atspalvį tokių uždeda, nu, blet. Ir vat, nu, tipo, uždengi pakeitimą, zaibės. Blet, gerai, tai gal šitas keičia apačią? Ne, aš nežinau, ką šitas tada keičia, actually. Legit nieko. Gerai, how does this look? Aš tragiškas spalvų derinime ir panašiai. Ai, čia žiedai tie, nu, ne žiedai, o who knows, kas pasikeičia. Čia nesuprantu, kas keičiasi. Iš tos pusės pažiūrim. Jo, actually neįsivaizduoju, kas čia keičiasi. Ir čia nematau jokio skirtumo, kad kažkas keistusi. Aš be šalmo vaikštau, šalmo net nesimatys, nes aš disablinęs šalmo. Be šalmo, kaip matai, negalima spalvinti. Bet kaip būtų, čia, nu, šitam UI šalmai jungia, bet aš be šalmo vaikštau. Aš galvoju dėl šitos apačios kitokią gal kokią spalvą padaryti. Čia distinct gan toks išsiskirimas gali būti. Galima maroderių žalę, bet atrodo fucking weird. Man atrodo, prie mėlynos nesiderina žalia, bet ką aš žinau. Galima daryti tiesiog irgi, kad būtų mėlyna kaip, nu, armoro atspalvis, tai yra tas pats. Galima padaryti, tipo, somewhat auksinę tokią. Geltona žalia rūta. Ple, I don't know. Rūta, help. Women, help. Ar šita geltona čia vapšė derinasi, ar šita mėlyna geriau? Ple, man gal visai mėlyna labiau patinka. Kad jau moteris tai nereiškia, kad, ple, vapšė, nu, nenaudinga, nu. Man atrodo, šitai paliksiu mėlynos atspalvius labiau. Jo, aš nežinau, nieks nesikeičia, kai uždedi šitą. Tai šito aš ir nedėsiu. Raudona, sakai, šitą? Žinau, atrodo labai gay. Weird and gay. I don't know. It's alright. I don't know. Aš nežinau. Myžalo spalva. Arba raudona, arba tiesiog mėlyna. Kodėl I'm terrible at this? Aš tai paliksiu, jie ką tipo galiu pasikeisti, it's fine. Ok, nudažėm biškiuką lėtą mirtį. O ble, tikrai gražiai atrodo. I like it. Bet pačio rūbo vis tiek negali nudažyti tik tos ornamentus, tipo, nu ir patį rūbą vos gali pakeisti, tipo. Nes, kur čia dai, nes, tipo, ne šitas tintas, tipo, jeigu patį jį keiti, vos keiti tokį labiau atspalvį. Nebent reikia gal kokių geresnių dažų, kokių ir tada kiti daug smarkiau, nes šiaip jau pakeičia gan spalvą, bet I will be like this. Well, this was fun hour I spent. Ar ne, aš 2 valandas rinkau? Ne. What? Aš 2 valandas rinkau iš tokius pigmentus. Ok, supratau. Nice. Gerai laiką praleidau. Aš norėjau nusidažyti, viskas gerai. Ką dabar vykt?
If you show that you have lethal intention or lethal capabilities, and another person decides to fight you anyway, this is like the whole basis for like nuclear deterrent. That like, if I have a nuke and you have a nuke, well, hey, we're not gonna fight each other because neither of us are ever losing that fight, because if we do, we're gonna fucking nuke you. Like that's like the whole foundation, like nuclear proliferation, everything, right? Is it like, well, hey, if we all have nukes, we're not gonna fight each other. Yeah, I don't know. No, I do know. That's dumb. If somebody's taking out a weapon and somebody else attacks them, chances are this is a fight that's gonna get messy.
It's absolutely a fair assumption. Ask anybody that's any like it's. I actually question if you're operating in good faith, if you actually want to challenge that assertion.
I think that's a fair point. Like, how can you say that a guy charging a dude with a knife isn't ready to display lethal intent? Like, if the other guy already has. I think that's a fair point. And this is like the third thing he's brought up that makes me wonder if he's arguing in good faith at this point.
I believe the act of open carrying means that you have a lower bar that justifies lethal engagement with other people. I think this might be the fundamental question we're disagreeing on here. So what you said is so if a person's just...
I get baited really hard. I should have just bit the bullet on this and thrown back a fucking analogy immediately where he's like, so you think open carrying lowers the bar on you murdering another person? Yeah, it does. It does. Much the same way that being a man lowers the bar, 100%. Being an adult lowers the bar, 100%. If an 8-year-old charges me with all the intention in the world of killing me with his bare fists, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna fucking kill this kid. It's a kid. It's 8 years old. Right? I'm not gonna kill him. If a 28-year-old male charges me with full intention of fucking killing me, oh, well, hold on. The bar just got a whole lot lower because you actually can fucking kill me, and now I can justify. Yeah, the bar is lowered, 100%. I think so.
Just running at you from the street, like, and you're like concealed carrying, I don't think you have a right to just open up on that person and unload 7 shots.
Why do you always move to bad faith accusations? He might not have thought through it fully, just attack the argument. Because it's no fun to attack arguments if it feels like the other guy is just pulling shit out of the air. And it's like, it feels like I'm on the Raj Royale arguing against like fucking Bob Seven or Caseytron, like characters, where like I'm throwing out like legitimate arguments and the other person's just like memeing the whole time. Like, I'm not interested, because if I truly do feel like if I really am getting a strong feeling you're arguing bad faith, I'm just gonna make fun of you then. And I'm gonna fucking shit on you and get into ad homs and blow you up. Because I don't wanna, because now I'm bored. Because now it's no fun. I don't want to have an argument with somebody that's trying to discover their position in the middle of a conversation and they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Like, that's not fun for me. I hate that. It's so frustrating. Like, if I don't feel like you're actually there to have a real discussion, then it's like, Jesus Christ. So, like, when you start saying things like, well, I don't know if, like, an adult male charging you is showing lethal intent. Like, the fuck? Come on, dude. Really? You really believe that? You're really going to say that?
To them because they're running up to you. You're concealed carrying. They don't see you with a firearm. You don't see a weapon on them.
Okay,
but you just kill them.
This is why
they're open carrying now.
Your analogies are really bad.
But what I'm asking is, do you think the fact that he was open carrying...
Let me just explain real quick, okay? Because now you're talking about a guy just standing on the street and another guy charging him out of nowhere and then just shooting and killing a dude. This is a way different circumstance.
I would say there's a greater threat present there than one in
There's-
which the person who has the gun initially aggressed.
These analogies are very disanalogous. Okay, we're talking about a guy who's running away, being chased by another guy who's not only throwing shit at him but continues to chase him, knowing that the guy's like brandished a firearm. This is quite different.
Throwing shit,
than a guy just
throwing a
standing in the
bag
street.
with a Coke bottle. There are some people who are trying
You
to say
don't
it's a
know what's
Molotov.
in that bottle.
Destiny, wait, this real issue. With full intent to kill me, you're talking from the perspective of the shooter who has to assume that intent because they brought a lethal weapon, so any fight could be to the death, reasonable for the shooter. But that doesn't mean the guy chasing with the bottle was, in fact, running up with the intention to kill that kid, right? That's true, but he should know that. That's his fault then. That's you. If you're attacking somebody and they have a weapon, you should be ready to die. Is what I'm saying. I would assume so. If I see a guy, if I was outside a bar and there's a bouncer and the bouncer's got a gun or whatever, and I run up to start shit or start to fight with that bouncer and I try to pull his gun or some shit, yeah, I would assume the guy's gonna kill me 100%. He's got a gun and I'm starting a fight with him, of course. Like 100%. You got to be ready to die. If I go and fight with a cop or some shit, or if I go to fight with some dude that's fucking strapped and he knows that I know that he's strapped, yeah, I would assume that both of us are understanding that like this is a fight that's like could go to the death. Right? Because we both know that you have the ability to kill somebody. I'm probably gonna have to take, or somebody's gonna have to take the gun from somebody, right? Yeah, of course. I think that's totally fair. I think that's a totally fair. I don't even think that's. I hate that I'm even shouting about this. I don't even think that's controversial. I wish I need my fucking aunt here, okay? Because she was NYPD for 20 years, and I know for a fact that she would fucking agree with me. And I know that she would make it funny as fuck, too, because she is funny as fuck. But I know for a fact that she would tell me, like, if you see two guys on the street fighting and one dude's got a gun, that fight is lethal. Like, you know, nobody's punching somebody. Like, if I have a Glock and somebody walks up and just fucking cold clocks me and fucking punches the fuck out of me, that dude's not walking away, right? He would expect I'm probably going to fucking shoot his ass, right? That's probably how it's going to go. There's just, like, if you believe anything else, you watch too many movies. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, we saw a video in a pretty close-up picture. It didn't seem to be. I mean, it certainly wasn't a Molotov. There were conservatives who were spreading that rumor. I just want
Sure, but like, if a guy is already chasing you, already throwing shit at you, you don't know what the fuck else
okay,
he's gonna
so
do.
fine. Then okay, fine. Then we can just use that example. Let's say, for example,
Okay.
that you're a shoplifter. Okay, and pardon me if this is disanalogous, but I think it's fairly analogous. You're a shoplifter at like some little, I don't know, like some little like Chinese grocery outlet somewhere in Chinatown or something like that. You shoplift some stuff. You're noticed. The owner chases you out, throws stuff at you. They're chasing you. If you're concealed carrying, do you have a right to turn around and gun them down?
This is bad for two reasons. One, you're the initial aggressor. You're shoplifting, stealing property. And two, you're concealed carrying. He doesn't know you have a gun. But also, and I wish I was more quick on this, you could argue self-defense, I think. Maybe not from a legal ground, but from a moral ground, I think you could argue this. Let's say that you steal a fucking gum or whatever. You steal some dumb shit from a store, and a storekeeper starts chasing you, you run away. Let's say that as you're running away, the storekeeper pulls a fucking knife on you to kill you because you shoplifted. Do you have a right to defend yourself? Or, like, I mean, I don't know. This is...
No, of course not.
Okay, so you believe that open carrying and the implicit threat associated with carrying means that there's a lower threshold that you have to meet to justify killing somebody who's chasing you.
No, it's not a lower threshold. It's the same threshold. It's just that threshold is met much quicker because you've already displayed that you have like lethal capabilities.
Right, no, but that's what I mean. Yeah, the implicit threat associated with open carrying means that the threat... Then if the threshold's not lower, then your state is higher.
Hold on. I 100% agree with you. That's why, as a CCW holding gun owner, which I am, open carrying is the dumbest fucking shit in the world. I'll never defend open carrying because it does make it so that things escalate very quickly. Because this is, I'm sorry if you don't understand this, because you're just wrong if you don't. But two people with guns,
No need to patronize with all the preaching.
I'm not trying to patronize you, but like you're unironically misunderstanding it. Okay, if one guy has a gun and another guy doesn't, these two people don't get in a fist fight. Okay, you just can't do that because one guy is holding a gun. That guy's never losing the fight. Okay, right. There's a very low chance. If I know that somebody has a firearm, I'm not going to engage that guy in a fist fight because if he starts losing, he's probably going to blow my ass the fuck away. That's what happens when you have firearms.
I would argue then, if you are the one who is open carrying, you are responsible for deaths which take place through the exertion of force, which would otherwise not merit a standard of murder. So I
don't agree with that. No, I don't think I agree with that. I don't agree with that. I shouldn't have said I agree to that. Like, because even if you're concealed carrying, it could play out the same way. If some dude comes to attack you, you're concealed carrying, you pull out your gun, and then they attack you still, are you still at fault now that you've shown your weapon? Like, I shouldn't have said I agree there.
If you
wait,
let me finish. Let me finish my argument. Wait, please.
Oh my
please,
God. Okay,
please.
I disagree then with what you just said. So go ahead. I
Okay,
disagree.
sure.
Oh, okay, never mind. Because I thought he was taking it a different way. Okay, so we disagree. Okay, go
Then
ahead.
I'll clarify, and we'll see if you disagree after I'm done clarifying. So, if we agree then that being chased and having shit thrown at you either does or does not morally warrant the murder of the person chasing you based on whether or not you're open carrying, I would argue that murders committed within that threshold of moral legitimacy are on the person who is open carrying, because they are the one who accepted the responsibility of implicitly escalating the threat by open carrying.
Okay, if you have a firearm, your goal is to de-escalate, meaning retreat whenever possible. If you are retreating and somebody continues to chase you and you blow the person away, that's on the other person. They know that you are brandishing a firearm.
Unless
they
you're
know that you have
concealed
lethal
carrying.
capabilities. Well, concealed carrying makes it a little bit different. This is a totally different argument. That's why I'm getting irritated by the analogies. Concealed carry is different because if somebody attacks me and I'm
I
concealed,
don't really respond directly to the argument. I should have rephrased his argument before providing that pushback. That like even if there is a gray area, it's way gone once somebody is like running at you. It's not even a real argument. That gray area. If somebody's open carrying, it doesn't make them responsible for killing somebody. Somebody still decides to attack them.
O apskritai, plečia visa tema, nu, tipo, niuansuota ant tiek, kad jie gyvenime neras bendros kalbos, čia, tipo, ypač jeigu vienas ar kitas nori nesutikti. Ar, nu, tai, kad kai visi turi, kodėl Amerikoje tiek daug problemų yra su ginklais, nu, viena iš priežasčių, tai, kad visi turi tos ginklus, obviously. Bet ir tai, kad yra steituose skirtingi statymai. Vienur galima open carry turėti, kur, tipo, gali nešioti ir vos nedidžiuotis ginklų. Bažnyčiai kažkas išsitraukė ginklą ir į kažką šovė tada, prisimenat? Ir gal 6 skirtingi žmonės bažnyčiai išsitraukė ginklus ir iš karto jį užmušė, tipo, ir, nu, neutralizavo, tipo, situaciją. Tai, nu, visi, blėt, visur ginkluoti. Tai pasakymas, nu, ar tu gali ten mušti su kažkom, tu bet kokį fizinį konfliktą su bet ko turint, turi Amerikoje bijoti dėl savo gyvybės, nes bet kada gali mirt, blėt, nes tave nušaus tiesiog. Nu, tai čia, obviously, tai aš nežinau, Vaušas čia ginčės, aš nežinau ką, nežinau ką ginčės, jis atrodo panašu, kad gyvena kažkokiam pasaulyje utopiniam, kur visi dalykai vyksta pagal jo kažkokias taisyklės, aš nežinau, bet, nu jo, tai, kad Destiny sako, kad jo, realiai, jeigu, nu, įtampa pakyla dar aukščiau, jeigu matai open carry ginklus, jeigu matai ginklą, tai, I don't know. Nežinau, net kaip įmanoma kitaip mąstyti.
That's just wrong. You just don't attack people. You should just not attack people, especially people with guns. Just don't do it.
concealed carrying, that guy might not know that I'm willing to kill this guy over this fight. We could get into a fist fight and he could beat the shit out of me or whatever, and it's whatever, and I could be concealed carrying this whatever. But if I'm open carrying, he knows I've got a gun. Well, now if he's still attacking me, holy shit, it feels like you're taking up to you.
Should responsible gun owners be defending businesses they weren't asked to defend? Should black people getting murdered by the cops be stealing or having weapons illegally on them? What do you think, crazy X lol? How many cop murders of innocent, how many black executions have happened at the hands of cops that you think are okay because some of the black people were involved in crimes beforehand? Crazy lol in Twitch chat. Can you please tell me how many black people deserve to be murdered because they were committing a crime before it happened?
Ble, gerai, kad pas mus tiek daug ginklų nėra, fuck that shit. Aš čia laukia to XD Twitch lul atsakymo chato.
Also, he was asked to defend it. Don't care. Doesn't matter. It's not even relevant. He was. Apparently, the store owner put out a request for people to help. But it doesn't matter. Destiny, can you rephrase the question? So you're saying whether or not he should have been there with the property at all or whatever. So apparently, if he shouldn't have been there, all of a sudden it makes it okay to try to kill him or attack him. So what I'm saying is, well, how many black people were murdered by cops while they were in the commission of a crime? Does that make them being murdered by the cops okay because they shouldn't have been there? Because that's the argument that you're giving. It's the argument that every conservative gives when they're so happy to find out that some black guy killed by the cops actually had a criminal record or something.
True.
What was George Floyd doing? Didn't George Floyd try to pay with a counterfeit bill? Was it his fault for being there then? Like...
Bet čia iš vis tupo logika, tipo. Pana išprievartavo, nu tai jinai buvo turbūt klube kažkokiam jau. Jinai pati kalta, what?
But okay.
Ta logika niekur neveikia.
You know that I have a gun.
This
You're
is
still
yeah,
coming
no,
at
that's
me.
exactly
Feels
what I mean. I would say that if you're being attacked and you are open carrying and you would not be justified in murdering somebody if you were concealed carrying, you remain unjustified in murdering somebody for open carrying because you are the one who decided to escalate by open carrying.
No, okay, but that makes it sound like you have to go back further than.
I'm trying to think of a situation where somebody would kill you if you were open carrying but not concealed carrying. But
Nereik taip rengtis, kad vyrai negali susilaikyti. Nu, yeah. Nu, aš tau papasakau biškį tą temą, aš nežinau, dabar tą temą net nenoriu šnekėti, tipo, pats pradėjau, aišku, bet jo, ten niuansų yra daugiau, aišku, visą laiką visur, bet tas, kai pirmas responsas, but what was she wearing, tai tipo, what? Niekaip neveiks, net jeigu jau labai ten charitable būsi. Dabar noriu tą pasakyti. Kurva nahui, ginčia su Averkonsulu, blėt sutarėm daryti funnelį resursų. Vieni pisasi, kiti shadowina. Tai atsirado bičias, kuris tiesiog random visų pradėjo prašinėti Matsu, kai call-out nuo jį. Tai čia aš per daug deman, kur kaip galime su debilu. Oh, I have no clue what's happening, taip kad sėkmės tau.
if you're concealed carrying, it makes it okay. This is such a weird argument because it seems like in some cases the concealed carry is worse. Right? It seems like imagine a woman is concealed carrying a gun and a guy walks up to her and says, I'm going to rape you, and then she shoots him and kills him. Well, if the woman was open carrying, maybe the guy wouldn't have walked up to her at all. So in that case, is every time you kill somebody while concealed carrying, if that murder would have been avoided or that killing would have been avoided if you were open carrying, does that mean that concealed carrying is now unethical? Like, this is such a fucking fuck. I couldn't wrap my head around how stupid this argument was. Fuck. I should have taken like 10 seconds to like just process this a little bit more. It's a really randomly stupid, yeah.
And if you're gonna say, because there's the reason why these guys are open carrying is because they want it to be an open show of force to protect fucking business owner
They should be
property
more
or their little
responsible with how they
organization or
engage.
whatever.
If I open carry into an airport and the TSA charged me, am I more likely to kill the TSA? I'm genuinely curious how you answer that not arguing. And I'm genuinely curious how you managed to actually fucking run your hands across the keyboard to get all of those characters to come out while also being 75 IQ. If you go into an airport that is explicitly an anti-gun, no-gun zone, and you've shown a blatant disregard for the law, and you're brandishing a firearm, you openly have a firearm, of course fucking law enforcement is going to take you out. Like... Oh, wait, hold on. Another guy to ban in the subreddit. You are sitting in the seat and a flight attendant makes announcements that the doors are being closed. Put away your phones, etc. You notice the guy sitting across the aisle has a gun and is trying to make it not noticeable. So what's the proper action? Oh, he probably has it for self-defense, no problem. B, if I jump and take control of the gun, I violate his constitutional rights, can't do that. C, he's probably a hunter. Or D, there's no way he has good intentions. Take him down while you can. Wow, good subreddit posts. I love all the bans I'm getting on my sub. What a fucking idiot.
Dar ne tik Twitch'te banina vidury, žinai, dar ir subreddit'e. Amazing. Reikėjo visi subreddit'e man toliau turėti daugiau žmonių, kur banina.
Yeah, but it seemed like he was. He was literally running away from the dude.
But if he wasn't open carrying, you agree then that a concealed carry approach wouldn't have warranted a reciprocative murder. So then the open carry makes the
approach. Hold on, whoa. A concealed carry approach isn't what bodyguards use, okay? When you go to the fucking club, okay, the guys aren't cops don't conceal carry, all right? When people are standing outside places, like, no, and you know they're not concealed carrying.
I think bouncers actually, I think they normally don't have firearms, or they actually do have it, usually tucked somewhere, but that's neither here nor there.
You go to the airport, okay, the people aren't there in the fucking airport, the rifles aren't concealed carry, okay? In this case, if they wanted to display a show of force to protect property, it seems like open carry is probably what they want to do over concealed carry. So in that case,
I think there was a complete pivot. That has nothing to do with anything I'm talking about. So
no.
Wait. You and I. Speaking of disanalogous comparisons. Wait. We agree on something fundamental here, and that is that there is a fundamental difference between open carrying and between concealed carrying, because open carrying necessarily escalates the threat level of any engagement you're going to have with that person because they have a fucking gun open, meaning anyone who aggresses against that person is doing so with the knowledge they're carrying a gun. I argue, since the person who is open carrying is the one who
Everything you're saying
chose
is a waste
to.
of time because you won't let me just address the problem here, okay?
Okay.
Personally, I think that concealed carrying is preferable to open carrying, but in every single circumstance, that isn't necessarily true. And the reason why is because I just gave examples. If you're trying to display...
The correct response here is that open carrying isn't the escalation here. The escalation already happened when the protesters were setting shit on fire. Like, businesses and car lots and shit have already been set on fire. That's like the escalation into like arson. So like we can respond with like firearms.
You're defending some piece of property or whatever, then open carrying is probably more responsible or makes more sense than concealed carrying. So in this case, if they're showing up to defend property, they feel like open carrying is like, or they feel like they want to have a show of force to defend property, then open carrying makes more sense than concealed
Sure, and they
carrying.
have a right to do that, and they also thus accept the responsibility of the heightened level of force and threat implicit to them open carrying and are
Kaip ten yra su faction reputation, karožiai stovitės 3 karinį kill daugiau kažką daryti, questą reikia daryti. Man čia rašo kur nors dabar jie. Man čia, ble, nerašo. Su kiekvieno to milestone reikia questą padaryti, kad į kitą lygį pereitum. Nepamenu tik, kur yra pirmas questas, čia turbūt pirmas ties 3K, tai man atrodo Katlas Keys galbūt mieste, ar Monarch's Bluff'e. Skirtinga mieste tas, fakcijos NPC duoda skirtingą questą po skirtingam lygiui.
are therefore responsible for any murders which would have taken place.
What I should ask here, the killer response question here is, so if somebody is open carrying, does that mean that you're allowed to kill that person without provocation every single time simply because they're open carrying? That should have been my next question, because since they're open carrying, if they kill me, morally it's their fault, because if they weren't open carrying, maybe I wouldn't have died. So does that mean that every time I see somebody open carrying, I can run and attack that person, and if they kill me, it's always their fault because they're open carrying? Like,
because they're open carrying, that wouldn't have their concealed carrying.
But the thing is that, like, as long as they're complying with, like, a reasonable duty to retreat, then the murder or the death would fall on the guy that was aggressing the guy that is open carrying.
Yeah, again, because they're open carrying. It's not the person who's chasing the person open carrying's fault that they're open carrying. They chose to open
You're
carry.
assuming that they have, but it's not like they have zero justification for open carrying.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, there are benefits and losses. Benefits are you get to look cool. Losses are if somebody attacks you and you kill yourself in a way, or sorry, not you kill yourself, you kill them in a way that you probably wouldn't have if you were concealed carrying. You're responsible for that.
How would you kill them in a way you would if they were concealed carrying? You can still pull a gun if you're concealed carrying.
I feel like you understand the argument.
Wait, are you saying that any time you attack somebody, then if you're open carrying, you're always constantly 100% in the wrong?
No, if you're open, I think that people who are open carrying should be held to the exact same moral standard of lethal or reciprocatory force that a person concealed carrying would. And I know that a concealed carry person can't be punched in the face.
No. That is not true. Okay, you're missing. There's like, this is really frustrating. This guy could have been concealed carrying, and this could have played out literally the exact same way. It's
But I
not
asked you.
relevant here.
But I asked you if it was, and you said that if the
Yeah,
Chinese
sure, let me
shot
explain.
man.
I understand. No, we don't need to revisit. I understand. Let me explain.
You seem
okay?
very
This guy
frustrated
could
with
have
my
been.
attempts to explain my position. I'm not trying to speak over you.
You've explained your position plenty. It's just that you're drawing on like these really disanalogous threads to make a really silly argument.
I mean,
just in 2
concealed
seconds.
versus
Listen, you can be
non-concealed.
concealed carry. No, but when you conceal carry, you know how you kill somebody with the gun? You have to unconceal it to do it, Vaush,
Yeah,
okay?
I
So this
know.
guy could have been concealed carrying, and somebody could have charged him, and he could have taken his gun out, and then still ran, and the guy could have, and we could be having this exact same conversation. The fact that he was open carrying doesn't mean that's 100% the reason why this escalated where it did. He could have concealed carry, and this could have played out literally the exact
Isn't it
same way.
illegal to brandish your firearm if you're concealed carrying unless you believe that you have a reason to
Why
use
are
it?
we
Why are we talking about legal? Oh god, I'm glad I call these out immediately when they happen.
pivoting to legal arguments?
Because in this respect, laws are generally meant to be a rough reflection of our
No,
moral
oh my
position
God,
on
what are we-
reasonable.
I can't. This sounds like the most bad faith thing I've ever heard in my life. Why would you say this? We're having a moral argument on self-defense. It's like, oh, well, isn't it illegal to do that? Wait, what do you mean? What is legal? Well, legal laws represent our morals. Wait, what?
Wait. Okay. So let's.
Come
So
on,
forget.
Vaush, I know
No.
you don't believe
Wait. I'm not making a legal argument here. The reason that law exists is because when we're talking about people who conceal carry, we agree it's unethical for them to brandish their firearm at people around them unless there's a reason for them to use that firearm.
Sure. So just say that. We don't have to talk about the law to say that. Just say that. We don't need to bring up any legal shit.
Right?
Sure, and he might have felt like his life was threatened prior to that, but we don't know this. We don't have that video, right?
Do you think it would be moral then for a person to open fire on somebody anytime somebody else looked like they were going to hit them?
Next attack
Sure,
gonna
Vaush,
be
let's do a
VR.
hypothetical
Makes
situation.
sense.
Maybe this guy was standing in the crowd, and the other guy said, "I'm
Makes
gonna fucking
sense.
kill you." And the guy's like, "No, fuck you! I've got a gun. Don't do it." And he's like, "I'm gonna fucking." Let's say you pull out your gun, and he's like, "Oh!" And he runs
Tai
after you.
jau
Anyway.
reikės
Maybe you turn
VR
around, you're running away,
pirkti.
he's still throwing shit at you and chasing you. In that case, would the guy have justification to turn around and shoot the guy?
Aš iš tikro apie VR'us kalbėjau su draugais, prisimenu ir sakiau, kad realiai aš next gen greičiausiai pirksiu. Nes tipo jau dabar yra tie VR, aišku, aš niekada nenorėjau tų VR, kur reikia ten pusę kambario, kad juos setupinti, tai ten fucking bullshit. Dabar jau, ta nauja technologija, ta Oculus Riftas, jo ten, kur jau realiai, tik Tik akinė ir jau tipo nereikia realiai ten nieko setupinti daug ir panašiai, bet aš tada galvoju, gerai, dar vieną generation reikia palaukti, kur dar labiau ištobulės tipo technologija, kur jau leidžiai tik užsidėti reikės ir jau daug daugiau bus ištobulinti ir manau tada reikės VR tą setą kažkokį pirkti. Nes manau su nauja karta to jau VR tų setų ir žaidimų vis daugiau ir daugiau bus, kurie jau Half-Life Alyx parodė, kad holy shit čia gali būti veikti ir amazing experience būti. Tai gali būti visai, kad jo reikės pirkti, jeigu norėsi actually insane kokius geimus pažaisti, kas būtų visai įdomu, tai jo.
Chasing him that said he was gonna fucking kill him?
I guess it would largely depend on how credible you believe the threat to be. I don't think so, generally.
Okay, cool. Then it sounds like we don't disagree on this.
Wait, then we agree it was immoral to murder the person who was chasing.
No, you just said that if you had a gun and you felt like the guy chasing you was trying to kill you,
Oh, sorry, I was
you
speaking
had
from
the
the
right
other
to defend yourself.
perspective. My apologies. No, I don't think you should be able to shoot that person, no. Unless you felt there was a credible threat to your person. If they just said they were going to kill you, but they're chasing you without a weapon, probably not, no.
I'm sorry,
Now,
hold
the law
on.
there would depend based on the
Wait,
state.
hold on. I just need some easy yes or no's real quick. Do you think that the only way to kill somebody is to have a gun? Yes or no?
Do you think that a gun is like a multiplying factor here that legitimately increases the threat of violence?
In one-on-one combat in close quarters? I mean,
You
like,
can-
you can't answer the
Wait.
question.
You can kill someone with a handkerchief.
Okay, thank you. So when you have a full-size man chasing you, okay, and he's got a fucking glass bottle in a bag he's throwing at you, don't give me this. Well, he doesn't have a weapon. Maybe it's not lethal force. That is an
Wait, so you think
incredibly
having a bottle in a
disingenuous
bag thrown at you means you get to kill that person?
If somebody says, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and they
I hate how he keeps re-characterizing the guy charging down the kid. The guy's running at you, screaming at you. He throws some shit at you. I don't know if the kid knows what the fuck is being thrown in a plastic bag. It's not just a guy tossing a plastic bag at you. It's a guy running you down, screaming, fuck you! Like throwing shit at you, like charging you, knowing that you have a fucking rifle. Like,
chase you with a bag and a bottle, do you think that person could kill you, Vosh?
Of course they could. Anyone could, regardless
Okay,
of whether they
then
express that intent.
so if you think that a guy could kill you and he's chasing you with a bottle in a bag and you've got a means to defend yourself, do you think you have a right to defend
They could
yourself?
kill you without a bottle in a bag.
Okay, well then in that case, let's say that you're running away from a guy. He says he's going to kill you and he's chasing you with his fist out and he's chasing you. Do you think you have a right to defend yourself?
I don't know. It would depend on how credible the threat would be. What if he doesn't say I'm going to kill you? What if he just chases after you?
Well, I don't know. We don't have the video, do we?
Wait, you
But it
can't.
sounds like you acknowledge-
Wait. So you acknowledge then that expressing an intent to murder is an essential component here, and you're using this as an analogy for a video where there's no.
it's not an essential component. How many people say, I am going to murder you right before they kill you?
Evidence whatsoever that the chaser ever expressed any intent to kill the person.
Wrong. I did not say that intention. I didn't even say you needed that. I was just giving a hypothetical because you seemed to think it was impossible to believe that a man chasing you with a bottle could kill you.
No,
And I just gave you a very stop. I just gave you a very clear example for how. Well, actually, look. Here's an example of how he actually could be trying to kill you. And then you took it as a
Do you
person.
think-
You
I
can do
think
that
you
even
can't
with.
kill
No,
a person
stop.
with
Let
your
me
fist.
finish once.
I don't
I
think you
stopped and let
understand
you
my
finish
position.
so many things. I've stopped. and let
Man
you-
atrodo, jo, aš ko daugiau, man atrodo, Destiny turi labai panašų mąstymo tipą kažkokį analitinį kaip aš, nes jis, jo, Vaušas visiškai arba nesupranta, arba specialiai pateikia tos argumentus, pačiai šičia, bet kalba, neteiginį sako, bet paaiškina, kad logika buvo neteisinga Vaušo. Bet tada, hipotetinė situacija sukuria, kad paaiškinti, kad tas loginis teiginys, kurį Vaušas pasakė, nėra teisingas, nes galėjo būti priešingai ir, to pavyzdžiui nori tą paaiškinti. Bet tada Vaušas paima būtent tą teiginį ir jį dabar pradeda vos netakuoti ir galvoja, kad čia pozicija yra, aš to fucking nekenčiu, kai žmonės taip daro. Man tai yra tokie tupi žmonės. Čia grinai tiesiog mąstymo fucking stoka kažkokio kritinio analitinio, aš nežinau. Arba, jo, stoka ir nesutapimas, I don't get it. Jis man labai yra clear, ką Destiny ir kodėl pasakė šito, argumentų, bet Vaušui va ne. Vaušui atrodo, kad čia yra Destiny pozicija ir jis iš karto dabar jau ją pradeda atakuoti. Kaip yra frustrating kalbėti su tokiais žmonėmis ir daug tokių žmonių yra. Kur jeigu tu atrodo mėgini paaiškinti, kaip logika neteisinga, aš apie tai kalbėjau ne kartą, jie tada tau priskiria pozicijas, kurių tu niekad gyvenime neturėtum ar panašiai. Tai aišku, tokie dalykai su tokiais žmonėmis iš karto peraugai bet feit argumentus.
Let me finish, okay? You initially said that it was impossible to imagine that the guy charging the dude could have killed him, and I said, well, I think
Wait, I never said. Wait, hold on. I never said that. Wait.
Okay.
Just to
Then
save you
let's back up
time,
to
I
that.
never said it's
Let's back
impossible
up
to kill someone.
Okay. I no, that he could be trying to kill you. You made it sound like it was impossible
I
to believe
never
that a guy
said
chasing with a
that.
bottle
But you
could
can
kill
say
you.
that about anything. You can say that about a 12-year-old running at you with a.
He keeps, okay, now he's saying, okay, this is something that's fucking my head really hard. Because now he's saying that the guy needed to say, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, or he's just throwing a plastic bottle. But then he was saying, but now he's saying, like, oh, well, anybody can kill you with even a handkerchief. I don't understand the change here. It's like fucking my head up, like, really hard.
sharpened pencil. That doesn't justify murdering them. You have to have a reasonable assessment of the escalating threat level.
Okay, so this guy was 17 years old being chased by a fully grown man with a bottle in a bag. You don't think that guy could assume that guy could murder him?
Anything could murder. It's whether or not the threat is great enough to warrant murder.
Right now, I'm so confused.
Wait, let me clarify. Wait, let's calm down.
Wait, such a weasel. Right
I don't know what we're talking about for 5 minutes. Like, this seems like a very easy. Could an adult male running at a 17-year-old male kill him? Yeah, I think this is something where, like, I feel like the whole past 5 minutes have just been weasel bad faith. Like, any reasonable adult, if I was talking to any reasonable adult with any type of, I don't even want to say life experience, just any reasonable adult here, like, do you think that a guy running at you, screaming, fuck you, he's like an adult guy or whatever, do you think that guy could kill you? Yeah, for sure. Would you assume that that dude's about to fuck you up? Like, yeah, of course. Like, I don't think I would have to have this conversation with any other person. I think they would readily admit, like, yeah, a guy's running, you're running away and a dude is chasing you down, like, you're like, fuck you, and just like an adult man, yeah, that guy's gonna fuck you up. Like,
welcome to America.
I don't think I would have to argue about this with any other normal human being, ever.
Right now.
Wait. You keep asking me as though it's like a gotcha. Like, could he murder? You can murder anything with anybody, or you can murder anyone with anything.
Can you
I'm not trying to. My threshold isn't whether you can murder someone. It's whether or not the threat justifies the implementation of lethal force. Now, I don't think that threat is. I don't think that level is met.
Sure. Let me ask you a really easy question. If you're running away from a guy and he's chasing you
hate
with a bottle,
wasn't that the point?
this isn't an analogy. This is literally what happened in the video. You watched it?
I have. I didn't know where you were going with this, but we've done a lot of pivoting here, so I want to stick on topic.
So let's say that I agree. There has been a lot of pivoting here. Let's say that you're running away from a guy who's chasing you with a bottle in a plastic bag. Is it reasonable to assume that this guy is coming at you with deadly force?
No.
Okay, we're never going to agree on this then. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is only the first of 2 murders.
Well, no. We can't.
I feel like any other adult human being I would talk to would just that would just be not something you would disagree with. Like, most people just like. The disconnect is what you and Vaush consider a real threat? No. Vaush would agree. Vaush is lying right now. Or he's arguing in bad faith. If Vaush was at a convention, and there were a bunch of conservatives around or some shit, and some guy came fucking running at him, you know, like top speed, like some adult human came running at him, he would have been like, whoa, shit, this guy's running at me to fuck me up. Any other real-life human being would 100% readily admit this. Guaranteed. The only way that if somebody is not willing to
Žinokit, panašu, rimtai, vakar kur žiūrėjom diskusiją, panašu, kad Vaušas, kai kalba su Desni, čia reiškia nebuvo vėlgi pradžia. Įdomu, kada prasidėjo visas šitas. Tikrai atrodo taip, kad Vaušas visiškai jokios pozicijos nenori sutikti su Desni. Nes čia atrodo net visiškai nelogiška pozicija, nes vis tiek ras kaip ginčytis, kaip prie kažko prisikabinti, kad tik nesutikti su Destiny. Aš nežinau, nuo ko tas prasidėjo, bet čia jau iki absurdo daina, nu ir galų galėjau čia turbūt ir baigsi šitas, nes koks žmogus galėtų pasakyti apart Vaušo šitoje pozicijoje, kad, nu, žmogus bėgantis į tave ten, kad ir su bottle, ten whatever, šiaip bėga, apsikabint, tipo, gero palinkėti. What? Ir tai, kad Vaušas nesutinka ir ginčias, ir, nu, kaip ir vakar toj diskusijoj, kur po metų, ar čia po kiek daugiau net buvo jauta, jis atrodo 2 žodžius Destiny pasako ir Vaušas, nu, tiesiog ieško prie ko prisikabinti tik įmanoma, tipo, ir aišku, ten, nu, prie nesąmonės prisikabinėja, kur net negali prisikabinti, bet, nu, tas non-stop interruptionas ir prisikabinėjimas. Mes kažkada važiavom iš Klaipėdos į Vilnių, užsukom Kaune kurą, privažiavo maži vaikai, kažkie su bomba išlindo girt, sako, įpilkit kurą, draugas kažką užvėmė, tai vienas per langą iškaž ginklą, nutilom ir daugiau nusprendėm, ko nesradėl tokių bairių. Ktu nachai. Jo, čia nu nach situacija, bet dabar turbūt irgi pasitaikytų, bet daug rečiau. Anksčiau būdavo Kaunas, nu jo. Nu still, jo, nu nachai šia situacija, jo, tikiu, kad greitai užtyli tada tokioje vietoje, nu nachai, blėt, nu. Ir, blėt, šudiniausia yra tai, kad tie marozai durneliai jaučiasi, kai teisūs, tipo, dėl to, kad ginklai įsitraukė ir kažkas užtilo, jie jaučiasi galingi, žinai, nu, jie nėra teisūs. Nebuvo teisūs ir jie, man tas tai užpisa. Žmonės, kurie įsivaizduoja, kad yra teisūs, tai belenkaip užpisa. Aš dėl to daug problemų turėsiu ir turiu gyvenime, kad neleidžiu tokiem žmonėm, blėt, nesąmonės. Aišku, nu, šitoje situacijoje čia nėra net ką daryti. Tipo, tiesiog užtyli ir viskas, čia jau ne juokas. Bet aš fucking nekenčiu tokių žmonių, nu, nahui, blėt, kai man užpis tokie žmonės. Gerai, toliau žiūrim.
That, then you can probably bet that they're banking on some bullshit argument because they know that if
Taip, būtent. Čia yra... Kodėl ir kyla labai daug visokių konfliktų, ypač Amerikoje, kur visi turi ginklus. Kodėl toks tiek daug? Nes šičia yra atakuojamas ego žmogaus. Ego žmogaus yra labai sudėtingas dalykas. Žmogaus ego pakeičia mūsų smegenų veiklą netgi. Ką mes mastom ir kaip mes mastom pakeičia. Užgauni žmogaus ego ir tu gali, pamiršti apie racionalų sprendimą ar atsakymus į klausimų ir aš ir visi dėl to kalti esame. Mes nuo to pabėgti negalim. Tipo, čia, tai būtent, va tokie dar kai daunai, kurie įsivaizduoja, kad yra teisūs, dar ir tipo laimi, ir tave tipo, tavo ego nuskalpuoja. Fuck this, įsivaizduok dabar, jeigu tu būtum turėjęs ginklą. Arba tavo draugai turėjo ginklų. Čia yra ultimate situacija, kur Amerikoje vyktų susišaudimas jau greičiausiai, arba drive-by koks nors ten paskui. Nes tai prasideda jau ego karas, kur nei vienas, nei kitas nebenusileidžia ten ir čia taip greit eskaluoja viskas, ypač jeigu dar visi ginkluoti. Damn, yeah. Bet kaip situacija keistųsi, jeigu tokiu atveju patys būtume ginklą turėję, manau, tas pats nebūtume iškišę. Ką tu sakai, kad jeigu situacija, jeigu jūs būtume mašina, ar jeigu jūs būtume turėję ginklus, ar jie būtų iškišę ginklą, tipo... Kaip bebūtų situacija drastiškai keičiasi.
Then everything else they're arguing falls apart. I don't understand this. Maybe growing up in Beverly Hills, kind of changed his head a little bit. Maybe those people think a little bit differently. But... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is just... I feel like this whole past 5 minutes of arguing has just been a pretty easy give me on this.
Agree on this point. I don't think you're arguing in good faith. Or you're insanely sheltered.
Va čia jo. Ir tada jau reikia labai turbūt gerai žinoti ir įstatymą, ar tai, kai jie iškišo ginklą, jums leidžia ten kažkokią, teisę, nežinau, nes, jūs nematot, kas ten viduj, kiek žmonių, gal, pilnai, aš nežinau ten situacijos, bet, jo, bet labai apsisunkina situacija dar labiau, bet iš kitos pusės, bent jau turėtumėt kažkokią adekvatų kažkokį savigynos būdą, I guess, tokiu atveju. Nes dabar, visiškai disbalansas. Idėja, bet čia jo baisi situacija, nahui. Ir viskas, ko reikia, tik vieno pridurko, su ginklu. Ir tada, jeigu dar Amerikoje, kaip jeigu lyginsim, yra antras su ginklu, ir tada jau užsigauna ego, ar kitas kažką padaro, tada eskaluojama labai staigiai viskas, nes tada prisėda ir baimė už savo gyvybę, my fucking god.
I don't know what else to say to you.
Okay.
I think that's totally fair. I really don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Maybe we should go poll people in a college campus to prove this point. If an adult male is running at you top speed while you're running away from him in a fucking crowd in a protest or whatever, are you going to assume that guy's going to fuck you up? 100%. If he fucks you up, could he kill you? Yeah, 100%. It's not even it's not even controversial. I keep looking up, I'm trying to think of but it's not. This isn't even controversial. That's just an easy. That's like a presupposition, okay? That's a premise that we don't. That's axiomatic. We don't even argue over that. We just both hold it to be true without prior justification, and then we should work from there. The fact that we're arguing about this is I don't know. I guess it makes more sense because later on in the argument he tries to say, well, in Marvel movies it doesn't happen, unironically, but...
I don't appreciate it that every time we have a disagreement, that disagreement seems to come down to my age or my relative level of... How many people have you murdered? I think we're equivalent in this respect.
God, I can't believe that you think that a 17-year-old being charged by a full-grown man with a glass bottle can't see that as being deadly force.
Okay,
I don't think that you believe that. I think you're...
I don't even know if it was a glass bottle, because now I was going to say it's a plastic bottle. Even if it's just bare hands.
Saying that because you want to win this argument.
First of all, I want to clarify your language here. I don't know whether it was a glass or a plastic bottle. It looked plastic to me, but the way you're phrasing it makes it...
He looked plastic? Come on, you don't... First of all, there's 3 pixels of that bottle on the video. You don't know that it was fucking plastic. You've no idea. I shouldn't have mentioned the
bar
bottle.
Fight thing where he smashed the bottle on the countertop and he was running at you with a knife, when in reality he just had a bag with a bottle in it of indeterminate make. So I want to clarify that. I don't know if there are people here who haven't actually seen the video. Now,
even if he doesn't have a bottle, even if it was just his bare hands, if you're running from a dude,
you think being chased by a person justifies killing that person?
Nah, what the fuck?
Even if you're concealed carrying, if you're running away from a guy who's chasing you, and it seems like he's displaying some kind of deadly intent, then yeah, I think you have a right to defend yourself.
Even concealed carrying, if you're running away, you think if a person is... We don't know anything about intent, we just know that it was being chased. You think you can just turn around and kill that person if they're chasing you.
If they continue to chase you, yeah, and you've brandished a firearm and they continue to chase you, yeah, I do. I don't even think that's a hot take, unfortunately. I think you're.
What is the alternative here? You're running away from somebody. Maybe we get to this after. You're running away from somebody. Guy's chasing you down. You're like, get the fuck away from me. You're running. You pull your gun out. It's like, dude, if you don't get the fuck away from me, I'm gonna kill you. And the guy keeps running at you. You're like, okay, you got me. I was bluffing. All right, put my gun away. Go ahead, do your worst. Like, what do? Do you bend the knee? Please, I don't want it. What are you supposed to do? What? So emotionally invested in this particular
wait.
case.
It's not a heavy level of emotional investment. There are so many alt-right
Aš nežinau, ką Destiny padarė Vaušui. Ar jis Vaušo paną išpiso, ar ką, aš nežinau. Nu, aš net nemanyčiau, kad Vaušas ant tiek idiotas atrodo, nu, tipo, protingas, bet kai kalba su Destiny atrodo, pamiršta visą logiką, tiesiog atrodo viskas jo yra vienintelis tikslas, yra ginčytis su Destiny ir nepritarti jam, ką jis besakytų. Nu, atrodo grinai, nesvarbu sužinoti, nesvarbu diskusija, nesvarbu debatas, svarbu prieštarauti. Ir aš nežinau, kodėl taip yra, jau 2 pokalbius su jais, vakar pražiūrėjau šitą ir čia reiškia dar anksčiau prasidėjo, kad viskas, ką jis daro. O gal čia Vauš tiesiog su visais taip bendrauja, aš gal tik su Destiny, vat mačiau jį. Gal čia reiktų Vaušo pažiūrėti, kaip jis kalba su kitais žmonėm. Gal čia Vaušo tiesiog tokia asmenybė, kai jis debatė ne tik, kad nori kažką išmokti, ar tipo, ar nu, engaging dialogą ir pointus, o tiesiog prieštarauti. I don't know.
every day now that I don't have to get too invested in any given one.
Okay,
I think that's like a huge narrative on this. Yeah?
There are so many alt-right murders. Yeah, this
kid.
kid, the 17-year-old alt-righter dude.
Well, I mean, of course there is. Yeah, I know you don't like breaking news very much, but the nanosecond after this happens, all the alt-writers are out there talking about how this, you know, somebody has to provide a counter-narrative. So I'm interested in this discussion.
I think that in this little brief window, the shining window, we actually get a light into what Vaush is actually doing, which is just mindlessly providing the counter-narrative to counter the alt-writers without actually any concern for what happened. I do appreciate that he said that.
Don't agree with you on the moral framing here. On the legal framing, I'm pretty sure that this kid's going to be convicted, from what I understand of the law. But obviously, that would depend on whether or not your moral alignment.
By the way, they're trying to charge this kid with like first and second degree murder. So good luck. But who knows?
It's more with like, you know, stand your ground states or non-stand your ground states. Yeah, I don't really know. Let me think.
Okay,
here.
sure. Okay. In that case, I'm just curious to see where you stand on self-defense. Okay. Let's say that you have a person that is significantly smaller than another person, and they're running away. Okay. Let's say that other person is chasing them and has said, "I'm going to come and beat the shit out of you." Okay. Let's say that the person being chased has two options. One is to lose the fight and then endure whatever the attacker wishes to levy on that person, or two, to pull out a weapon and deliver lethal intent. What do you think that person's moral obligation is? Should they be allowed to defend themselves with lethal force, or should they be forced to submit to their aggressor and endure whatever they want to deal out?
Without knowing who the aggressor was there, you're offering me a choice between one person dying for sure and one person maybe dying. In which case, I would say, without knowing who aggressed, I would say that I would take, getting the kid beating the shit out of them, because I don't know who the aggressor is.
I'm glad then, because we just fundamentally
So like, maybe I should have pushed more on like that without knowing who aggressed, because it feels like he tries to weasel so hard. Why can't he just deal with what I'm saying? Like,
disagree. Okay. I think that if you have a means to defend yourself, I don't think you should have to submit your body to another aggressor. I think that's wrong. I would say the same to a woman who thinks she might be getting raped. No, it wouldn't.
Wait, no, that's non-comparable, because in the case of the rape, the
Absolutely
rapist is the aggressor. If the person who was charging at that kid was the aggressor, undeniably, then I would agree with you. That kid had every right to gun them down. But we don't know whether that happened.
Oh, okay, so he comes back and agrees with it later, when I bring up the rape analogy at least, okay.
No, but you're not saying we don't know. You're trying to draw up some potential story where this guy with a gun threatened a bunch of people and then ran away as soon as another guy, like, I guess that could happen, but you have no reason to believe that's the case. You have no evidence.
You don't think it's like a 50-50 on that? Like, so this is a kid who, I mean, judging from at least the social media we've seen, definitely has a pretty strong political bend. The odds of like a far right...
His strong political bend is fucking posting Blue Lives Matter shit, and I guess he could argue he does it. I don't know. But okay.
Militia kid brandishing a firearm at another person, or aggressive, I'd say.
Now this is like... right. So yeah, sure. So now we've left the moral arguments, and now we're playing the breaking news game. Because I've seen videos where that guy was running an EMT station, and he said he supports Black Lives Matter. He just wanted to make sure that people were only rioting against the government and not other people. So now what does it look like? He was literally saying he was pro Black Lives Matter earlier, and that he was running an EMT station. So now what are the odds?
I don't know. So do you want to then dispense with any presumption of initial aggressing and just like work with the ambiguity? I haven't seen that video, by the way. I'd be very interested in seeing that video.
Sure, no one in your chat will probably have it. If you go to my chat, I'm sure like a ton of people link it.
Why do you keep accusing my chat of being hyper-biased and partisan? I'd like to think that I cover things from a reasonable level.
I hate that he simps so fucking hard for his community. It's one of the grossest fucking things that he does. Not, they're like, I understand him defending his community or whatever, but to pretend that his community isn't like ultra fucking bent in one direction is one of the dumbest fucking things that I ever see him do. God, it makes me sick to my stomach.
You do more than most, but the socialist shit just makes me want to fucking off myself.
What socialist shit? This isn't a socialist issue.
It definitely is. It
The most-
definitely falls along the huge like anti-cop, anti-whatever. Like I see all that shit coming out.
The most
like, hardcore
aggressively
with this
partisan people on this issue are Kyle Kalinske types, and he's not even a proper socialist.
Okay, we can pretend that's the case if you want, sure.
Wait, okay, I don't know what bias you're coming into this with. He's certainly not.
Okay.
He's less of a Ahsoka than shit.
Oh, no, I don't know. Kyle Kalinske is a socialist. I'm just saying that the idea that there aren't like a ton of like lefty LARPing dipshits on Twitter that are getting asked about this.
Of course
we
there
can
is.
pretend
They
that's
hate me more than they hate you. That's why I do things a little
Sure,
bit differently.
like I'm pretty sure your chat is. I'm sure if I would open it up, a million people are typing bootlicker and chud. But I guess we can pretend that those are like.
Wait. Them not liking your take here isn't evidence of bias on their part. Well, they weren't before.
No,
but now,
but
of
you're
course,
using
now
insults
it's
like
I like how he pretends that his chat likes me before this too. Ugh.
Like generally.
Well,
it's like
now of course they are. They weren't before. Now, obviously,
they were. I know they were before because everybody in my chat is.
your chat would call me a boat licker if you prompted them verbally.
Literally half my chat was against me on this.
No,
I'm pretty sure 99% of your chat is aligned with you, but okay.
Well, yes, this is more. I've argued with my chat plenty. You know, I took that from you to some extent.
Čia kai
What happened with
streameriai
chat?
savo chatus
yeah, I
pradeda
don't know.
lyginti, tas pats, kas
I
pybis
don't think that you
lyginti
agree
su
with what you
sakau,
told
na.
me earlier. I think that you're only saying it because you
Ne,
want.
mano geresnis chatas, ne tavo, mano didesnis, net mano didesnis lygiai tas pats, blėt. Aš nežinau visai tos situacijos, apie situaciją čia vapšė niekas net nešneka, jeigu nepastebėjai, čia kalba dabar apie visai kitus dalykus, ne apie situaciją praškai niekas. O aš net nežinau, kokia čia situacija buvo, tai net nieko šis apie pačią situaciją nenoriu kalbėti.
Want to be right or whatever in this particular thing. The idea that if one person is running from somebody else and the other person is the aggressor, and the one person either and the person running has to either choose between using lethal defense or just submitting themselves to the whims of their aggressor, that you think that person is morally obligated to submit themselves. I don't think you actually.
I don't buy your premise that running away in the video that we've seen makes them not.
Well, I'm not using. No. I'm just asking because I wanted to explore this in moral vacuum. I just asked in that particular case, and even in that vacuum, you said no because you said, and I quote, if I have to choose between one person dying and one person potentially dying, well, the other person should just choose to potentially die rather than definitely kill the other person.
When it is not known who the aggressor is, that would be the side that I would take. If it's known who the aggressor is, I'll side against them every time.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. So like the rapist thing isn't analogous because like a rapist is obviously the aggressor. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then in a moral vacuum, if one person is running away, okay, and the other person is chasing them, and the person running away hasn't like provoked the other person or done something, right? If he's running away and he has a firearm and the other person is chasing him, and that person chasing can do great harm to the person running away, you agree that the person running away can defend themselves? They have a right to use lethal defense?
If I give you a non-yes/no answer, will that come off weaselly?
Yeah, absolutely, because this should be a pretty easy yes or no, but tell me why you can't give a yes or no answer to that.
Okay. I think that under circumstances like that, I guess if I had to speak to a preference here, and this isn't legal, I don't know what the legal requirement would be, but I certainly think it would be preferable for the person who holds the firearm, whether they're open or concealed carrying it, to turn around and threaten that person with lethal force before actually acting on it.
Sure, I agree.
I don't think
Brandishing the
chasing...
firearm. But if they, sure, let's say they brandish the firearm and the other person continues to chase them and run at them and shows themselves to be aggressive. Does the other person have a right to defend themselves?
If the person chases through those circumstances and the person who is chasing is the aggressor, then in that case, I think, unless there's some incredibly weird circumstance, I would side with the shooter. But this isn't what happened in the case here.
In that case, then you do see that it is possible that that exact situation could have occurred here. Do you agree?
Well, in this case, we know. Well, the video loses track behind a car for a fraction of a second, but it didn't look like the shooter. It didn't look like the shooter turned around.
Case, it is. What do you mean? He didn't need to turn around and show a firearm.
No, that's what I mean. Like hold the firearm to that person, like you stop or I shoot, something to that effect.
Come on, dude. If you have the firearm out, like you already like no, right? The guy's gonna shoot.
Yeah, because I don't believe open carrying means you get more justification to kill people who attack you than it would if you concealed carrying.
But in this particular case, you admit that could be the case here. The guy ran away. He threatened to shoot.
He's trying so hard not to see it. Yeah, I notice it. Like when people try to trap me with like tricky things, like, oh, well, will you agree? Like I'll just say like, yeah, of course I agree with it there. But whenever I try to get somebody else, like, can you just agree? If one guy's chasing another dude, this guy's got a gun. Can he defend himself? Yeah, of course. Just say yes. Just buy it and we can move on. Instead of doing like the 50 trillion different attempts to like change the analogy. Jesus Christ.
The guy and he's still charging. He shot. So you agree that could have been what happened here?
Well, they still didn't turn around and issue like a sort of a warning before shooting. But yeah,
this is so dumb. Like the guy is running away with a rifle and he's chasing him. Well, the guy didn't know he was going to shoot him. He needed to turn around and say, "Sir, hello. I am carrying a modified AR-15 rifle today. It is loaded with 5.56 cartridges, and I have indeed chambered a round. I'm going to aim this at you, pull the trigger, you will be shot. If you do not, like, stop pursuing, like..."
If we assume that A, the person who was chasing was the aggressor, B, that the person who was fleeing genuinely believed there was a threat to their life, which is conditional, and C, that they then did something which I know for a fact they didn't do, which is turn around and verbally declare intent to kill before doing so.
Why? You have to... Okay. All right. Okay, listen. I have to go to sleep soon. We'll do this. Maybe we can do the rest of this tomorrow. Dude, I can't believe this. Come on. They have to turn around and verbally declare, "Stop, sir. I'm holding a Glock. I will be forced to fight." Like... You know, the guy was literally in arm's reach of Kyle.
Legit Vaušas turbūt galvotų, kad jeigu ir su Panate kažką nori daryti, tai turi raštišką sutikimą gauti iš jos. Kitaip tu ją prievartauji, tipo, jeigu pasakys kitą dieną, kad tave išprievartavo. Legit, čia net nėra, jo, čia yra super stupid. Neaišku, kas buvo tam video, neaišku, kaip ten viskas, bet, Vaušo logika, tai tiesiog jaiks, blėt, yra.
He didn't have time to... What, are you serious? It's not even 10. No, we're gonna watch a movie, and then I have to wake up early because we're renting a car and driving to Malmo and maybe Denmark. Okay. I'm trying to imagine where this happens, and then somebody like Vaush is like, well, the guy didn't even send an email to the dude's parents to make sure that the guy was of the age of consent in order to know that that guy actually consented to you threatening him with a firearm before you actually shot him. Like, what the fuck? Or it's almost like the guy is like, he's running up and he's about to charge you, and just as he throws the punch, you get that noise where it's like, and then the guy pulls his guns down and he's like, oh my Oamu, you know that I carry a Glock, and a single cartridge from this gun will penetrate your skull. I don't think you'll have time to pull it. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, the time freeze? Like, right before, like, what? What the fuck?
Man atrodo, dar
I don't
tęsim
know,
sagą.
dude.